Hey guys, ILene Vick here for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. It is Wednesday, March 24th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I am live with Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. Excuse me while I get situated here. Hello to everybody, good to see you. We got a lot of stuff going on. See. Excuse me, Sandra, come on in. Welcome. Good to see you. Lots of announcements for you, but I'll give it a minute or so to get everybody in here. Let me grab my water, which is now somewhere. Oops. Hold on. I will be back in a minute. Whoa. Oh, my. Okay, welcome Stephanie, welcome everybody that's coming in. You don't want to miss this broadcast. Lila, hello, good to see you. Okay, so I've got a bunch of stuff here I want to talk to you about. Hello Jean, good to see you as well. Canada is in the house. We are being overrun by Canadians. You ought to see all the members now that we're getting. Hello, Stephanie Connors. I love it when you guys wave to me. All right. So the first thing I want to remind you is Jeff Haney tomorrow. We are doing the duet coloring. And he has not, just to remind you, this is Jeff Haney. He has authored several coloring books. Cat coloring books, and he is coming here and he is going to be actually coloring one of his pages, and he's never colored one of his pages with the pencils or with the markers. So he bought pencils and markers, and we're going to be doing that side by side, so we'll have a lot of fun with that. So I'll be good. I won't trash talk him. Oh, what can I say? Ooh, okay. All right. Then we have Melba, who will be rescheduled. I can't wait to do that. She is going to check up on her internet connection and see what the problem was. We couldn't keep a solid connection with her, and I so much want her back in here because she is a great artist, and she's going to be painting on camera. Madeline Hamelin, did I pronounce it right? Okay, hello Madeline. So Melba will be rescheduled, and I will announce it, and we'll share the event and all that happy stuff, so yay. Let's see. Ruth Sanderson now, she is going to be broadcasting on the 31st in her group. And she's going to be coloring her Fox's book. All right. So let me tell you the story about that. Is she had published that book a while back, took it out of publication, came into our group, got talking to several people. Lila was one of them. And we kept saying, hey, Ruth, you really need to republish that book. And her main concern was an image that was going on 2 pages. And we said, hey, happens all the time. We showed her. She republished it. It went live on Amazon now, and you can get it there. Several of you have posted that you purchased it. I will try to remember to make a point to post the link, so we can get that going for everybody. But group, do me a favor. If I don't post the link, will one of you please take care of that for me? That would be great. Okay, so I will be announcing also the winner tonight of the contest. Yay! We've got Dawn and, oh, Melba, there we go. Dawn Boyer. And she has picked the winner. Oh, I posted the Amazon link for the Little Fox's Journey. That's what it is. Thank you, Lila. Thank you so much. You guys, I love how you have my back. Thank you so much. So that link is now on our site. I would encourage you to get it. It is a wonderful coloring book, and I think you'll definitely enjoy it. Okay. So let's see. So I mentioned Ruth Sanderson, 31st, 3 p.m. She said Central. Well, now it's Central Daylight Time. I still say Central Standard Time, but whatever. So 3 p.m. Central Time. So pop in to the group. Gillian, welcome. Good to see you. Pop into the group and to Ruth's group, and you'll be able to watch her because she's going to be coloring out of her new book. Okay. Now, I've got some surprises for you tonight, as always. But first, I want to talk about who the winners are of the book. So let me go ahead and flip my camera around. That's my cat, Bama. Bama! We lost him several years ago, but hey, wonderful, wonderful cat. All right, so let me roll you around here. All right. Oh, you weren't supposed to see that. All right. So first of all, I need to know how my sound level is. All right. You know, I like to use my headset and keep that clean and clear and make sure everything's too loud. Okay, let me see if I can tamp it down a little bit. I will use my inside voice. Okay. Okay. I will use my inside voice. That's what I need to do. All right. That's me. All right. All right. That's what I need to know from you guys. Oh, and two more things. I have also contacted Ranger Products, and I will be inviting them in. I will be inviting them in. Faber-Castell, I have invited to come in, and I will be talking to Prismacolor tomorrow. So we'll see how they do. I want to bring in some product people because I asked you guys about that, and a lot of you said yes, yes, yes. So we'll do that. All right, Gillian, I need you to say hello again, just so that I know that we are connected. Hello, Pearl. And by the way, welcome to all the people that are watching this broadcast and will be watching it. Hello, Melba. Melba, I can't wait to get you rescheduled. You'll need to let me know. There we go. There's Gillian. All right. All right. Hold on. Let's see how much of a mess I can make. So today I got some Happy Mail, and I got these little ribbon bows. So you can see those. And I thought that they would be a really cool add-on to some of the images. We'll see how this one, so I'm just going to give you an example. Let's see here. There, isn't that cool? So these are really cool bows. Let me make sure I've got my zoom in ready. Zoom in. Okay. Zoom in. We'll get there. Zoom in. Zoom in. All right, I'm not worried about it. We'll go manual. Okay, so I just wanted to show you a sample, and you can tell that my peeps have no problem at all expressing their opinions. So we've got a blue that we can put on there, for example. We have a little gorgeous red. That we can put on there. And I thought that these would be really nifty to have for several images that we've done, especially the cute ones. So I wanted to show you that. Zoom in. Oh, one of these times it'll work. So there are all my bows. They come in different colors. We've got the blue, the black, red, maroon, purple. So I will make it a point, along with some other things that I told you that I would, to post that in the group as well. So I got them on Amazon, and I'll post the link. And this is one of those containers that once you open it, it poofs out. Oh my. Hold on. Let me try to get these stuffed in here. Oh, just silly. And you guys know that I always tell you, don't add stuff to add it. You add it for value, right? You don't want to look crazy with it. Okay. So that's that. Yeah, I will put it into a Ziploc. All right. So that's the piece I worked on before, and I just wanted to show you that idea. Okay, so I have a special guest coming in tonight, and Gillian, go ahead and request that you come in. This is Gillian Wilson. And there she goes. She just requested to be in and on camera, so I'd like you all to welcome Gillian. We'll get her in here. La-da-da-dum. La-da-da-dum. And we will be going. Oh, Gillian, it said the guest declined the live video invitation, so we need to try again. Miss Melba, when will you have your technology issues? Did you find out whether it was your router or your modem, or what was it? Okay. And we will do this again. La-da-da-dum. Jean says, hi, Gillian. Welcome to the family. All right. So I wanted to get Gillian in here. Melba, you have someone coming next week. Okay. So is it a matter maybe of what? Upgrading? Oop, no answer from the live video guest. Okay. Gillian, turn your iPad or your iPhone sideways to landscape. And Lila says, so happy to have Gillian with us. See, Gillian, they're getting excited about you, and you haven't even come in yet. Oh, you're going to upgrade, Melba? Pearl says, hi, Gillian. Welcome to our fantastic group. So, Melba, what do you think the issue is? Mine was the modem and my router. And I found out that I hadn't upgraded to, like, what, 2014 was the last time. Oh, Gillian, you don't have to apologize. Sandra says you'll have fun in here. This was the whole point, Gillian, of making sure that we could connect, so we're good. And we'll take as long as it needs to do it. I've got a great group. They're going to be coloring while we're working on getting you in here. Okay. Stephanie says she loves coloring. Yeah, Gillian's Canadian, by the way. So Stephanie says, I love coloring it. I do it 27/7. Love it. Helps with my depression. I'm telling you, we're getting overrun by Canadians. I love you guys, actually. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Yeah, Sandra and Lila are Canadians. Okay, Gillian has a request. What's your request? So turn your, there we go. We'll try her again. Ja-da-dum, la-da-dum, ja-da-da-dum, ja-da-dum, ja-da-dum. No answer from the live video guest. Okay. So what are you trying to enter the group with? What's your device? Okay. Now, for those of you that missed it the other day while Gillian's working on her end, and don't panic, Gillian, we're fine. I'm in a really good mood tonight. Facebook needs your permission. Okay. Yeah. So you guys saw that I'd added the stones and the sand on the bottom of this. This is the Hannah Carzon Summer Nights. And I like it. And I wanted to show you guys different ideas for adding things. Now, again, you don't want to add things just for the sake of adding things. But these were the little pebbles that I got, and then I covered them in the clear glue, which is my Elmer's glue, and that worked out really well. So Elmer's washable glue. Take your time, Gillian, we're fine, we'll get there. So I wanted to show you those bows as well, to show you how that would look on some things. And you know, in the near future, then of course I'll be using it on other stuff. So that's pretty cool. All right. So it's now adding and sending the request again, Gillian. We'll see if we get it this time. And it's connecting. There you go.
Oh gosh. I'll have to figure out this camera, but can you hear me?
Oh yes, we can hear you just fine.
Hello.
You are nice and clear. Isn't she pretty, guys? Look at her. Isn't she gorgeous?
Oh, you guys.
I saw your wedding pictures, and they were absolutely beautiful. You had posted them on Facebook. So what's your husband's name?
His name is Sean.
Sean. Okay.
And, oh, I'm getting this weird. I'm hearing everything you're saying, and I'm saying like 2 seconds after.
Okay.
Oh, it's so weird.
That's all right. You'll get used.
Test runs, right?
That's why we do test runs. That's all right. You'll get used to it. No problem. Okay. All right. So everybody was welcoming you even before you got here. I don't know if you saw the comments, but they were welcoming you.
I
okay.
did.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you fell into a very friendly group, and you've seen us before. You said that you've been lurking up in the observation deck or balcony and watching us and watch our crazy antics. So we're a little crazy here. and we love it. Okay, I'm going to leave, I don't know, some picture here. Let me grab something here. There we go. I just leave that there. Okay, so the first announcement is that Gillian is going to be coming in as an artist, and she will be here April 1st. Now, yay! So interestingly enough, she's got published books, of course, and she likes to do mandalas. And I don't like mandalas, and she knows that. But she made me eat my words because I started looking at her stuff, and she's got really neat ones, guys. So I am very anxious to get my mitts on those. So she said that she mailed those to me, and so I should be getting them shortly. And by the way, Gillian, if I can ask you a favor, I have a winner that I need to announce on a contest that we just ran. So if you don't mind, can I take a second and do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the winner of, we've got Dawn's book, and are you guys ready for this now? We got to do a drum roll. Always have to do that. The winner is Michelle Stuffle, and she won for most realistic. So Dawn really liked that. Now, Dawn is also a publisher of coloring books, and she is a mentor to the group, and she's been, Gillian, been doing some wonderful things for us. So she's just a great lady. So the winner is Michelle, okay? And again, most realistic. But wait, there's more. Now, you guys know that that's my catchphrase, right? I always say that. But wait, there's more. There is another winner, and the second winner for the most creative. So we've got this now. Most creative is Maddie, and Maddie is winning for most creative. So I'm so happy for the two of you. I need the two of you, of course, to contact Dawn, and she's going to send you the books, and you need to let her know what books you have. Hi, Stacy, so that she doesn't have duplicates. So congratulations to Michelle Stuffle, and congratulations to Maddie. So Michelle and Maddie, take a bow, and I'm very happy for you. Thank you, Gillian, for being willing to wait and let me do that.
Well, I'm a polite Canadian.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So there you go. We'll see how long that lasts once you are in the group, though. No, you'll be fine.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, delighted. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about Gillian, and anything that if I get off track or get a little wonky with something, just correct me and let me know. And feel free to add in anytime. So Gillian wrote me, and she said her art career began early. She was drawing unicorns when she was 2 back in the early 90s. Can you imagine that, guys? Early 90s, how old some of us were in the 90s. Okay, I was inspired by gorgeous, treasured Ruth Sanderson picture book through my attempts, though my attempts looked more like rhinos. She said she kept at it, and she was one of those weird girls obsessed with horses. And you know that Ruth, Gillian, absolutely loves horses. I mean, loves horses. And she was obsessed with, this is Gillian, horses, art, and books. And she said she loved diving into fantasy worlds and have always had a very whimsical style. Now, interesting. Now, this is going to be really cool once you hear the rest of this. So she drops out of art school because in her heart she didn't believe in herself as being creative enough to try at the time. Now, guys, we have talked and talked and talked about that, and you guys know I smag you every time when I hear this, and you say it's not good enough, it's not as nice as yours, ILene. Just quit. And Gillian will talk about that, I'm sure. So she says, comparison is the thief of joy, and
and as they say, and my mental health, coping skills, and drive were at war. So, she started to mess herself up because of all this garbage that was rolling around in her head. And guys, quit. Just quit. So then she explored art as a career a decade later, and a lot had changed both in the world and within myself. So here I am, and well, I can't read the last part because this is still a surprise. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So Gillian, we've got two Mandela books that you're making me eat my words. So I'd love to hear you talk about yourself and what you enjoy and why you do this and why you join this group, and just fun with all this. So have at it.
Well, thank you so much for that wonderful intro, ILene. It's fun to kind of hear that back, and I think we've all experienced those moments of self-doubt, and it's really paralyzing if you let it take over. And this year when the pandemic hit and I lost my job, I just started getting right back into this creative field, and I was like, why did I make this such a big deal in my head? This is the most fun I've ever had. It's the happiest I've ever been. I feel complete. It's all working out. I have those like Ruth Sanderson plates in the background. I don't know if you can see them.
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah.
So I got those from my grandma back in the 90s. So, longtime fan. But like people like Ruth, like you have to start. You have to just start doing it. Otherwise, nobody will know your name. You'll never get your work out there. And it's really difficult for artists to make it. And a lot of people will say when you go into a creative field, like, are you sure? Like, do you want to be a starving artist? There's a lot of like doubt around you too when you start, because a lot of people don't understand it. But it's changed a lot. And in the last decade that I was not in a creative field, I was in more of a corporate space, like a lot of sales and marketing. And I also worked in a couple of other interesting spaces, but I don't want to spoil the surprise yet because one is pretty directly tied to that. But, I learned in that space, things have changed a lot, and you can get your name out there in a way that you didn't used to be able to. So thanks to platforms like Amazon, love them, hate them, they do create an opportunity for people to at least test out their concepts and see if they work before going into like more traditional printing and that sort of thing. So Amazon does make it where you can test out and see if you've even got something. So I got into drawing coloring books over the pandemic because I myself have suffered with some mental health stuff throughout my life. And it's a really, really cool product that I'm in love with because I connect with the colorists over that. Well, thank you, Leela. A lot of us who color do it for various different reasons, but I find a very common thread is, anti-stress, anti-anxiety, mental health. And so it's a perfect alignment. And I got into mandalas by accident. I actually have two other books that are coming out soon that are not mandala books. And that's actually what I started with. But it took a lot longer to draw. For me, like just the inspiration, whereas the mandalas just kind of flow from my heart and brain onto the page so easily that I just started leaning into that. And this book that I've got here that I will show you guys in a moment. I've got two mandala books, but the second one just came out on Friday last week, so I don't even have my copy.
Yay!
Yes, thank you. And it's an Easter egg themed mandala, sort of a spring coloring book, which is kind of funky and different, but it's quite similar to my first mandala book. And I'm very inspired by symbolism. So my mandala art style is nothing like Ruth. It's very stylized and pop culture references with a little bit of like hint of pattern art as well. So I like to mix some old and some new and make something different.
Let me back up on one issue, and then I want to have you. Do you remember the one that I really liked is that mandala with the faces on it? Okay, before you show that, hold on. All right, so I want to talk about the mental health issue a little bit, and however deep you want to go into it, that's fine. Where do you feel comfortable talking about that? How much do you feel it? Go ahead.
I am happy sharing anything. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
and autism. But I don't look it. I'm very high functional on the surface. So a lot of people didn't understand growing up when I would act out, because a lot of the time I'd be like, fine. And then I would be the girl who would like break stuff. I didn't cry prettily. You know, so I was just a little bit weird and different. And yet I didn't look it like I looked like this normal girl child. So it was always kind of a challenge, because people would have these different expectations of me than what I was able to deliver or what I wanted to deliver. And then moving into more of a corporate field, I got really, really good at mimicking. A lot of autistic people, we mimic, but also on the ADHD front, we're very, very sensitive. So it's sort of a catch-22. So corporate life was difficult for me for a long time, but it taught me a lot. But it was hard because I wasn't living my truth. I wasn't really being who I wanted to be and who I actually am. I was being who I was trying to be someone that people would like. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. But growing up, I was really confident. I was really myself. It was kind of like in my early like 20s that I sort of started to like lose my way and get really, really focused on, you know, the rat race, you know, making money and paying for an expensive lifestyle. And I didn't take care of my mental health. And that definitely took its toll over time. There started to be some cracks in the armor here and there. And I lost a couple jobs over it. So yeah, like I definitely had a bit of a journey. And then from that, I mean, everyone has different opinions on the medical side, but that started to take a toll on my physical health as well. So, you know, like stress kills your body and anxiety kills your body, and self-doubt is not nice to live with. So,
how did the coloring help you and again we'll go into what the second part of the secret is in a moment, but how did the coloring help you and your artistic work?
So I have a weirdly analytical brain on certain things, and I love researching how different things affect the brain. So I actually stumbled upon coloring on like a researching expedition and was like, that's interesting. I wonder if that would help with some of the anxiety and that sort of thing that I'm dealing with. And that looks like an interesting thing to play with. So I just started, you know, I ordered a couple books and was like, I could draw these too. But it's fun to color them as well. But I'm drawn to draw some. So I started drawing, and before I knew it, I had some books out, and I really, really discovered the joy of coloring, weirdly enough, coloring my own art first, and then moving into others. And just, I think it's because it's for you when you color, whereas when you're creating art for like a commercial purpose or, you know, to sell, you're trying to create something that people will want to buy. And there's sometimes some performance anxiety that can kick in with that too.
Mm-hmm.
But coloring is entirely yours. You can choose to share it or not. A lot of people color, they never post, and then lots do post. And whatever works for us, it's still for you, even if you post. You post. When people are posting, it's because they're excited about what they did, and I think that's so cool. So
we are a very, and you'll discover this, we are a very welcoming group, and we are a very open group. And one of my hallmarks is that when people come in here, they can feel safe, they can chat. I mean, we chat about everything, and I do my tutorials and I color, and we get into topics, and we pray for people if I pray for people if they need it. And so the reason I was interested in having you discuss your background is because I want everybody to hear you are not alone. You are not alone. And especially now when you come into this group and you hear somebody else talk about their backgrounds and what goes on, there is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. And in fact, one evening, Gillian, we got to talking about domestic abuse, and I'm not sure how we got there. We were talking about some things, and then we were talking about how, sometimes animals are abused, and then we got into You know, it happens with females a lot. We got talking about that. And some beautiful, beautiful supportive things came up for people as we were, you know, talking in this group. And I have had so many people tell me that they enjoy coming in because they feel safe and, you know, I'm quirky and they're quirky and we just have so much fun with this. So yeah, that's wonderful. But I was also glad to hear when you talked about you got to stop comparing your work. And your work is your work. And Jeff Haney is one of our artists now that comes in at the drop of a hat. He'll be here tomorrow. And we, in fact, and you and I, Gillian, need to talk about this too, but we're going to color side by side with Jeff. And he has never colored any of his coloring books. So that'll be interesting for the two of us to be doing it. So we're going to do that. Okay, so Gillian likes to be known as, she's an illustrator, she's an artist, and she told you that she's also, she's designed her own coloring book. So hold up the picture that I fell in love with, would you?
Let me find it here.
Yeah, it's the one that looks like the cards that I love. And
I
you've
know
got
the
to,
one.
yeah, you've got to see these mandalas. I love them.
Okay. Okay, so got.
Yeah, is that not cool, guys? Yeah, back up just a little bit, please, Gillian. Yep. Look at that. Is that not neat? Now, that's the types of ones that she does. And go ahead and flip through and maybe show a couple more.
Sure. I'm just gonna... This is a completed one.
Yeah.
Some are more simple. This one's like oak leaves.
Mm-hmm.
That's a symbol from my childhood and my family.
There you go.
This is sort of like got a bunch of hidden creatures in it.
Okay. So I really love the ones that have, Melba Carter is in here as well in our group, and she is an artist and teaches a lot of this, and she goes, oh, love, love, capital loves. Oh boy, shopping, everybody says. Yeah, I mean, aren't those out of this world? They're so different from what you normally see. And I love the ones that have the faces in them. Look at her earrings. Aren't her earrings pretty too? We love your earrings.
Thank you.
Those are gorgeous.
This one's kind of different.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one too. I really love that one. So now Sandra's saying we may crash the Amazon site tonight. So yeah,
I find that this is definitely a special book to me, but yeah, I will definitely fund the creation of more.
Yeah.
I love drawing these, and I draw them late at night when I'm relaxing, and I get a very similar feeling in my head that I get when I color, which is unlike any other piece of art I've ever made. Like even my other books, like I'm working hard. These for me are just happen. And so you know, that's how art is. Sometimes it's rough, and sometimes it just flows. And would you show the front cover, please? And we're going to be covering this now. It is backwards, but that's okay. So go ahead, and it's by Gillian R. Wilson, Wilson, and you're going to have to read the title because the script is giving me, what is the title? Mercurial Mandalas.
There we go. Mercurial Mandalas. And then again, okay, so great job. This book is already on the Amazon list. And what's your second one? Do you have your Easter one?
I don't have it in hand, but I can show you a picture of it on my phone here because I'm on my iPad. It is the eccentric egg mandala. It's inspired by the Ukrainian pisanka eggs. I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and we have this place called Ukrainian Village, which is about an hour outside of town. And that village is kind of where most kids go, like on a couple of school trips. And that is where I discovered those pisanka eggs and got some mentorship on how to draw them, and learned about symbolism when I was 7. So
Okay.
they had a big impact. So this is the, let me just see, I gotta find the camera. So that is eccentric eggs. And here are a couple eggs. So that's like a raven,
Yeah.
bird with crystals.
Oh, now see, yeah, go back to that one that you're looking at right now with the birds. Okay, and come a little bit forward towards the camera, please. Yeah, isn't that beautiful, guys? Look at that. Have you seen anything like that? Look at that. Okay.
You're
So
so
go back.
sweet, hyping me up.
Well, hey, you know, we do that with it. Look at that. I mean, look at those designs. And this is what now, April 1st, Helen Elliston is also in our group. She's an artist, coloring book artist as well. She's in the UK. Look at those eggs, guys. Absolutely beautiful. And then, yeah, Stephanie says, Amazon, here I come. And that one's on Amazon, is that correct? Oh, love that one. Go back,
Yeah.
let me see.
I call
Let me
that one the Great Catsby.
Oh, I love them. I love it. I love it. Beautiful. Go back to the cover, please, if you would. Okay, so eccentric egg mandalas. And that is also on Amazon, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so okay, and my peeps are telling me that these books are either being bought as we speak or are in their in their basket. So if you guys, these are the books that I'm going to be paging through April 1st, and that's when Gillian's going to be here, and we'll be featuring that and show you that. Okay, so here's the announcement. So Gillian is noted in our note, talk much? No. As she's known as an illustrator, an artist, and a coloring book designer. You've seen that. But the other news is, are you guys ready for this? She is a, what are you, Gillian? Say the word. Say the P word.
I'm also a publisher.
She is a publisher. So here's the deal, guys, and this is what I'm so excited about. Gillian and I are working together, and she is going to start bringing her artists through our group to show the books. And I'm so excited about this. She and I have been talking for a while now, and just really, this is going to be such a good thing. Her group or her company, and let me, because I just jotted this down, so I want to show you on camera. Okay, so here we go. It's called Jolt Book Publishers. Okay, now when you go to the website, do not type in Jolt Book with an S. So you want to put Jolt Book, no S, and then Publishing. So she and I are working together to do this, and the whole idea now is to give artists a voice in the work that they're doing. Now, here's the deal. Julian and I, and we've been talking about this, there are artists out there who are as good as, yes, oh, Jillian, good, you already put joltbook.com. You're quick. You are quick. There are artists out there that are, I would say, as good as Kirby Roseanne's and the other artists that are there, and they are just not getting the exposure. And this is what I'm really excited about, because Gillian is, you know, obviously running everything by me, and we're looking at it, and then we're going to go ahead and show the artists and show their work. So now, do you want to talk about how Jolt Book came about, or do you want me to go through what you wrote me, or how do you want to do that?
Oh, I'm happy to roll with it. It's good practice. So yeah, story of how this publishing company came to be is is not the shortest, so I will do my best to keep it as brief as possible. But long story short, when I dropped out of art school, I went into the corporate world, and I had some great experiences and some not so great experiences. I was yeah, some things happened, and basically I bounced around a lot. I didn't know what I wanted to do really, because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to, but I got great exposure because luckily people took some chances on me anyways, and I got to do some really cool stuff as well that grew me and developed this whole business acumen that I did not get in high school. I definitely wouldn't have gotten in art school. I got it in the trenches, working, getting my hands messy, and dealing with all the stuff that happens. So I went from kind of the tech world to recruitment, and then actually I went into publishing. So where I live in Alberta, we don't have a lot of book publishers, but we're really big in the magazine sector. So we had this really cool magazine company, and it was run by this lady that, I kid you not, was a Canadian red-haired version of Miranda Priestley from The Devil Wears Prada. She was amazing. She had amazing fashion sense. She was just this incredible force to be reckoned with. She understood art. She understood writing. She understood business. She created this business magazine called Alberta Venture. And I worked for her after being mentored by her outside of it for about 4 years. And it was very different working for her than being mentored by her. But she taught me a lot about the publishing industry. Helen, art school is messy. And you know what? I sometimes wish that I'd finished, because there are a lot of things that people who went through art school have that I don't. So I value different kinds of education. Mine was just a little bit more hands-on because of, I think, the way I'm wired, and between the ADHD and kind of the high functioning autism, it just worked better for me. But Ruth took me in. She taught me everything she could in the time that we worked together. But unfortunately, she had bought an oil magazine right before a recession, and long story short, she and her magazine went bankrupt, and that was really difficult to watch. And I'm going to say a trigger warning here, but basically she passed away. And you can Google her name. It's Ruth Kelly. But I'm going to trigger warning as to what happened. But basically that really got me on a different path. I became much more focused on helping businesses than consuming for myself. I didn't want to see that happen to anybody else. And I learned, I went into the startup and entrepreneurship space, helping other businesses grow, do sales, do marketing. And I started to notice some commonalities in those entrepreneurs, which was they were obviously all ridiculously passionate about what they did. And I have, when I worked for Ruth, I started wanting to run my own business, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when I was in that entrepreneurship space, I had no idea still. I was just helping businesses, and then I lost my job and I got cancer. So I had a lot of time to think, and I went right back into corporate after anyways, because I was scared still. And then COVID hit, and I got back into drawing, got back into getting my own books out, and I realized, oh my gosh, I think I know the thing I'm passionate about. It was staring me in the face the whole time. And Ruth came to me in a dream and flicked me between the eyes. Because again, Miranda Priestley, she was firm, and was like, what are you doing? You have all the pieces. Go do it. I taught you about publishing. You are an artist. You can write. You know business. You can go get money to hire artists. Go do it. So that's what I did. I went to the bank. I wrote a business plan. I got a loan. And I spent a lot of money hiring artists from across the world. I found them on Facebook. I found them on Upwork, Instagram, Behance, all over the place. But I was looking for people who were incredible, but didn't know how to self-promote themselves. I very specifically wanted those people because I saw a trend in the coloring book industry, and I don't want to throw any shade. I'm just going to say that it's a common practice to create a brand name that looks like a person. But it's not actually that person, it's a brand name, and then hire artists but not give them any naming credits. And that's really, really difficult for artists to grow themselves and grow their brand. And they ultimately end up taking the projects to pay their bills, so they're not starving, but they don't get naming credits. And that was something when I was doing my product research in coloring books specifically that I found interesting. And I thought, okay, this is an area where I'm passionate. It's an area where I have the skills. I want to bring some people along with me on this journey. So I focused on finding up and coming artists that have something different to offer, something cool to offer, but they don't want to do the marketing either. They hate it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's a completely second job from the art side. It is completely different. So I understand, like, if you're really, and a lot of these people are way more talented than I am too. But it's been a really exciting process to work with artists. It's grown me as an artist. It's grown me as an art director and a creative, where I've gotten to create these incredible, cool books with artists from all over the world. And they were just so happy to get naming credits. They were so happy to work together. And I formed these lifelong friendships and relationships with them. So, you know, it's been an incredible journey. And I'm not going to confirm those names, Sandra, but if you look them up, you can see basically the brands that do that. They'll say somewhere in their front copy matter, this is a brand owned by X Publishing. It's a representation of a collective of artists, but basically it is a way to pay artists less, pay up and coming artists less, and give them no credit so that they keep having to work for you instead of being able to stand on their own 2 feet. So I figured out how to publish, and I'm actually helping my artists self-publish and publish with me too. But I'm passionate about helping them get their own income too, because it is not easy. And come out there. It's like I said, it's a whole other skill set. It's a whole other job that took me a decade to learn outside of art school. So
yeah, and let's talk about that a minute. And I know that you didn't want to, you know, I mean, it's okay to say the name. So Ava Brown, Jade Summer, and isn't Mariola Budek also one of them?
I'm not sure about that one.
Okay. Okay, we're not.
At it, but I saw enough that I was like, whoa, this is a thing, and it shouldn't be. But and you know, not to shame people for how they do business. I mean, at the end of the day, we can all make our own decision. I was like, man, as an artist, that's frustrating to see, because I know how difficult it is, and that's a huge reason why I didn't start for a long time. So the people who are doing it, who are breaking their backs trying to get their name out there, it is so difficult. It is a busy stream. It's hard to get noticed. It's really hard. So, you know, getting naming credits to me is a critical part of the work. I struggle with it. But in writing, it is also common. So I don't know if you guys know about ghostwriters, but some of the best authors in the world don't even write the biggest bestsellers. They're not even writing their own books. So it is a practice that happens in the creative industry as a whole. But coming from the magazine space, where we were hiring fine artists, like, we spent money on our art. We were always crediting the artists, and Ruth would have found it appalling that they're not getting credit. That's just, on the editorial side, unfathomable. But when you're up and coming, people do it. Artists take that work because they have no choice.
Yeah, it was okay, and it wasn't Mariola. It was Rachel Mintz, I think, that was one of them as well. So, but anyway, okay, so here's the point, guys, is Gillian and I are getting together, and we are really trying to correct that problem. And the neat thing is, Gillian is concentrating on working with her artists, and I am concentrating on, obviously, the coloring and the promotion of the coloring and making a very safe group. So we thought that this would be a really neat way for the two of us to work together. And this is why I am particularly excited, because I think that you're going to see a lot of artists that are just drop dead gorgeous stuff that aren't getting their, you know, credit due. And this is what Gillian and I want to break. And so, you know, you guys know obviously that Lila says bring them in and we'll buy their books.
Thanks, Lila. There you go. So nice. I'm reading these comments, and you guys are so sweet. It's amazing. But yeah, that is the goal, and ILene and I are so aligned on that. We both love artists so much. That was the first thing we bonded over. And you have one artist in particular that has, I don't want to say a Kirby Roseanne style, because it's very much her own style, but I would say it's comparable. We're going to try and get around this. Some of the artists do live like in places that, you know, their hours are very, very different than ours. So like it might be tricky, but I'm going to do my best to get as many of them as possible on here at this time, because they are amazing and deserve to be seen and deserve people to buy their books. And I'm helping a bunch of them, like I said, publish their own too. So you can buy their books. Our books are like the more affordable version, and a lot of them, they do the more expensive paper limited runs, which is awesome. Like right off the top of my head, I'm just like, one that I am going to try to get on right away. Her name is Victoria Klein. And she has 2 of her own books on Etsy right now, and they are like the thicker paper. They're like Canadian, they're over $30. I don't know US dollar, but bit of an investment, but stunning books. Absolutely stunning.
Okay.
Stephanie, you've seen it.
Yeah, Stephanie's okay. Spell her last name. Victoria Klein, Klein.
It's actually, so her name Victoria is spelled with a K. There's no C, so V-I-K, Toria. And her last name is K-L-E-Y-N. And you can find 2 of her books on our website on joltbook.com. You can search by the artist. So you'll see the spelling there. And if you Google her or check her out on Etsy, you will find her right away. And I can also post, I'm going to throw up a blog post. I interviewed most of our artists over the past month, and we're doing a whole blog series as well. And she's one of my first that's going up. So if you keep an eye on our blog or subscribe to it, you will get updates on when those go up. And we also do free draws for books every month, which is fun.
Ooh, there you go. Now, Gillian, go ahead when we're done is post Victoria's name in our group and reference that we talked about it tonight. And, admin approved type thing, and to lead people to look at the work on Etsy so they can go ahead and take a look at it and see. Okay. Now, gosh, you're quick. I love it. I don't even see you typing. What is this? You like type with your mind, or?
I have my phone and then this tablet, and I'm a millennial, so now it's fast for me.
I know. I'm just teasing you now.
I'm a millennial.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so the really neat thing, guys, is as we're starting to, what's the blog name of your blog?
It's just on the website. So if you go to joltbook.com and hit blog, it'll pop up. It's not very populated right now because I spent all the time in the past month interviewing all those artists, but now it's going to come out once a week. We're going to feature an artist and talk about the process of building the book together. Each artist has a different process, which I found really, really cool. I worked with over 30 of them, and I'm going to say from November, December, January up until now. I've worked with over 30 artists now, and they each have like a very different process, and it's really, really cool to see. So I'm going to sort of open up the back door of like, how that all worked, so you guys can kind of get a peek at it.
Yeah, and the really neat thing too, guys, and you need to turn your head a little bit because the question was, it is her pink hair. It's not just a reflection. So I want you to show that. Isn't that cool? There you go.
Out, but it lasted a long time though. There you go. So thanks. Yeah, I love color. In case you can't tell it by my face and house and hair, and my wardrobe is a rainbow, and my coloring books interiors are all rainbows.
There you go.
Things monochromatic, but I do love a nice monochromatic color scheme once in a while.
Okay. Okay. Now, so what we're doing now. Oh, and what I started to say is, if we can't get an artist to appear on camera, then Gillian will come in and she will talk about, oh good, Lila just posted your link on your blog, it looks like. There you go. Yep. Lila's really great, by the way. She does things like that for us.
Thank you.
So what Gillian is going to do is, again, if we can't get an artist to come in for some reason, either it might be a language barrier, it might be a time barrier, whatever, then Gillian will come in and she will talk about the artist, and by that time I will have their book in hand and I will be going through it on camera while Gillian's talking. So Gillian knows these people. She knows how to, I kind of hate to use the word promote, I mean, it's promoting, but
that is
she
my
knows
job as their publisher, like I'm proud of it. I'm so grateful to get to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Promote. and she'll be able to give you all the information, specific information about the artist, which is really cool because by this time she knows how they think. So that's the really cool thing.
You guys will see things here that will not ever be posted anywhere else from those artists.
Super. And now, what I want Gillian to know, and she already knows this, we've got 15 people in the room, but what happens, Gillian, is we've got a lot of people that watch this, and we've had upwards of 400 and some people views, and of course, once it goes to Facebook, it continues to be looked at, and also I post to YouTube. So this whole interview is going to be up on YouTube as well. So yeah, so there's a lot of promotion on that, and I really appreciate the fact, Gillian, that you are running these artists through my group, and I'll tell you why, because we've talked about this. I want people to come in here and have so much fun and see new things, and Gillian is helping us do that. In return, Gillian is getting, the promotion of her artists, which is great. We're helping people who wouldn't have a voice, and that makes me feel really good. That makes me feel really good that we can do this. And what I'm hoping is that artists are going to start to see that they're getting this promotion, and once they see how wonky and fun that we are, that's going to entice them to further come through and want to appear in the group. So that's what's really fun.
Definitely. This is a really cool group. I'm so happy to get to be a part of it, and the artists that are signed up already are like very excited to get to meet you guys as well. For a lot of them, they've never been on camera, never done anything like this, but they're just so excited to get to share their art and what they do and what makes them happy. And I will say, as an artist, but also a designer and a publisher, there is such a there's a very cool magical feeling you get when you see your work colored in by other people. I don't know what it is, but I think it's seeing something that you drew, you visualize it a certain way, and then you share it with people, and suddenly it becomes this like shared recipe or stone soup where everyone who colors it kind of puts themselves onto the page. And it's really interesting to see all of the different ways and choices that people make with what they do with it. So artists, like we're always so excited when we see it. I don't know, maybe other artists are different, but it's so cool seeing finished work.
And that's an interesting comment that you made too, because Ruth Sanderson has commented she has seen images that other people have colored that she felt were better than hers. So, I mean, so that's really cool. And what I want your artists to know, and I don't know if any of them have joined the group already and are seeing this, you need to get this video out to them so that they can see and watch it, because the message to the artists is this. I broadcast for 3 hours. So we can do upwards, basically, of 3 hours of just talking and coloring and laughing and enjoying everything. And as we're going along, if we start to get talked out or whatever, I will be coloring the image while we're talking. It just depends. Either I'll color it or we'll talk about it or whatever the case may be. And then I end up posting it as well. And as you know, Gillian, I ask that the artist will supply an image for everybody to color as well, with a little gift of a book, that sort of thing. So that gives back to the group, because, they're putting their time into coloring it, although twist their arm, they love it. So it's just a win-win-win for everybody, and this is why I'm so excited about this relationship.
Well, thank you. I am thrilled. So yeah, this is amazing. And on that note, like when you talk about like donating, like providing an image to do a color along, that is like such a fun thing to do. It's a great way to sort of test out a book or test out a style. I think that's really awesome. Ultimately, as publishers, artists, we want people to like our work. We don't want people to buy it if they aren't going to have fun and enjoy it, because like money is not falling off of trees, and we want the people who buy our work to feel like good about that investment. So it's great to get to test it out. I think it's a cool way to sort of explore an artist's style and see how it meshes with you. I also think that when it comes to buying a book, it's a decision because it's a full book. And this probably gets people out of their comfort zones a little bit too. You know, I'm sure people start ordering a lot of the same style once you get really into coloring. So being part of a group like this and getting to test out new things and challenge yourself is a really great way to enjoy your coloring practice in a really supportive, fun community. I'm just blown away that this exists. It's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, it's interesting too, when I was talking, well, the day before Ruth Sanderson came on, we were talking, and, you know, we were talking back and forth, and she started getting into how she creates her books, and she ended up saying that she wasn't exactly happy with her nursery rhymes book because the grayscale was so light. And so we were going back and forth, and she started saying, well, what do you look for as colorists? What do you like? Da 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 da. And what I'm finding is that we are a great group for artists to ask what we think of their pieces. Did we like the line weight? Did we like, you know, the images? You know, whatever. So I'm hoping that you will get the message to them that if they want that feedback, we're more than happy. You know, if they ask, we will be glad to give them feedback. And I think that would be of extreme value to them. The other thing is too, as Helen Elliston dropped in, she's in the UK, she's an artist. We have artists dropping in here all the time that just, you know, come in and say hi, and you know, Jeff, like I said, Jeff Haney comes in and we razz him all the time. But sometimes I'll just whip him on camera and we'll, you know, just do a little impromptu thing. So that helps the artist. That I do it for the group, actually, because they get to see the artist. And, well, let's get some comments going in here. What do you guys think about being able to see artists on camera? So we'll get the answers while we're going here. So what I've found is they like that a lot because it puts a face to the image and it puts a personality to the image. So if you guys will answer that question for me, I would appreciate it. Let's see. Okay, Jolt Book internet page and Jolt Book Facebook are now posted in our group. Okay, so Lila took care of that. Okay, you saw that. There she goes. Gillian already do that. So Lila says, we love meeting artists. Okay, I love to meet the artists and learn something about them. I love meeting artists. Okay, so see, that's the cool thing too. And hi, Dolores. This is the first timer. Let me say, Dolores, welcome to the group. Love to see you here. This is Gillian Wilson. She's a publisher now that is running some artists through. So I'm so glad you could pop in, Dolores. That's great. My little choo-choo train went off the train. Oh, artists coming in. So, and then if they want, we are more than happy to give feedback, like I said, about their book. So, and again, we have found that a lot of artists, I don't know if they don't color their own stuff, or I don't know. What do you think, Julian?
You know, it's funny. I was almost reticent to color my own stuff at the beginning too, because I don't know, I had this weird, am I being egotistical? And it was actually really fun. And it helped me. I learned a couple things, like, because I've discovered when I color, I like markers. I thought I'd be a pencil colorist because I have a fine art background. Like I primarily specialized in watercolor and acrylic, but you know, I thought, oh yeah, pencils will be my medium. No, it's markers. I love to lay down that fast color and then come in with some gel pens, and that's just very satisfying to me. And so coloring my own work helped me because some of my line art lines can be quite thin. And it was like, oh, so when they're that thin, it's sometimes not the most pleasant to color with the marker. You end up with those bleed lines. And, you know, people want to enjoy coloring and they don't want to worry necessarily too much sometimes about those bleed lines, at least if you color like me. There are lots of different coloring styles too. But it helped me with my next mandala book. I definitely integrated some thicker lines. And I'm excited to get that one in because I think it's going to be a nicer coloring experience. but I wouldn't have known that had I not done it. And I had a lot of great feedback on it. No one was complaining about the line thickness. It was just one of those things that as I worked with the medium a little bit more, yeah, like markers and gel pens are so much fun. I thought, well, I should make some stuff for people who like those mediums specifically. You can still color them with pencils and anything else, but with those thicker lines, it definitely makes it fun, but still keeps some high design and intricacy and interest in the actual design too. So yeah, that's the kind of the fun thing about playing with your own work, is sort of pretending you're your customer a little bit, and sort of getting that hands-on experience is nice, but it doesn't replace getting direct feedback from people. That is super helpful.
Yeah, and interestingly enough too, and I don't know if you know this, so I'm going to tell you, is one of the things that I have my colorists do, or have told them that I do, is I spray the page with Krylon fixative first. Did you know that?
That is an old art trick. Yeah.
Okay, you know that. Okay.
I did that, but I definitely know that one from my pastel background.
Okay, and okay, wait a minute. Let me see something here. Gillian, oh, okay, let me read this comment here. I think you saw it here. So Gillian, a close friend of mine, paints the eggs and is having an open house tomorrow and has invited her friends to come in tomorrow in her home and out an egg or two, 60 extra eggs just completed this winter. I love your book. It's ordered. So she's ordered your book.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Pearl. And your
that's
friend,
cool.
Like, is it the Sanka eggs or like traditional painting or acrylic? That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And thank you for the support. That's so sweet. I don't even have my copy yet, and it's so neat knowing that people are purchasing their own. That is wild to me. It's a little slower in Canada. Usually our books arrive in a week. It's really cool. When I send books in the US, it's like a day or two. I'm like, man, we've got it figured out.
Yeah, so what I did is with the Krylon, which you already knew about, is now I've shown people how to use both the marker and, you know, the water-based marker, of course, and pencil with that. And you always see that you shouldn't put marker over pencil, but I've done that as well and it's had no problems. I don't know what your opinion is on that. What is your opinion on that?
So my art style is a bit messy and mixed medium. I love mixed media. When you first showed me how you colored, I was so excited because that's like how I grew up as an artist, was doing a lot of mixed media. So I don't have opinions. It's sort of, what is it? Or I don't have a negative opinion, I should say. My opinion is you should, if it gets the result you want, but also like we should get playful when we color. I do see in some Facebook posts the odd group where someone's very self-critical, and I'm like, you know, every time I see one of those, I try to post an encouraging comment or something, but you know, it's like, that's not what this is for. Like, I know you want to create great art, but part of creating great art, maybe this is that, you know, 1 year of art school I did get, which is you actually have to be willing to make those mistakes and look at them and go, yeah, like this one, I messed up that, I messed up this, but this I like, I'm going to do that the next time. And it's a playfulness and an openness where there's no space to be critical of yourself, because that's not the point. It's a curious, exploring place. So, I mean, the fact that you're experimenting, trying different layering techniques, that's how you find your style as an artist, honestly, is a lot of experimentation. So like people should be doing that more and having fun with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you are so self-critical, then you won't experiment because you'll stop because, you know, whatever the case may be. And this brings up a quick story. Lila in our group was working on a piece, and she was using are you familiar, Gillian, with the liquid pearl stuff that you gob on?
Not that particular kind, no. Is that like the watercolor mask liquid?
No. It creates specific dots on the page. These are
no, I'm not. That looks funky.
Yeah, these are dimensional dots. You can really see it back here. So we've been playing with those. I don't have anything that shows it clearly, but you can see it there. And the Ranger makes them, so that's the one brand. And then the other brand that I'm looking at is Nuvo, Nuvo. And
Cool.
so literally you put it on and it creates a dimensional dot, or you can take a brush and paint with it, and then it's shiny. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. So
That is so cool.
So Lila was working on a piece, and somehow she got air bubbles into the liquid pearl, and she created a hole in her work. And I've been really on everybody, quit throwing out stuff when you make a mistake, because people, will get disgusted with it and give up. And so I've really been after people, don't do that. Well, Helen, it's a three-dimensional dot that this stuff, that's a good way of putting it, creates, the liquid pearl and stuff. So Lila didn't throw away her piece, and it took a little bit. She ended up putting some tape on the back and some paper, and gluing some paper on the back, and then fixed it and recolored it, and you never ever would have known. And so not only would you not have known, but she also learned the way to fix it and didn't throw it out. So that's the biggest thing that I've been telling people, and you never know that a mistake is going to lead to something really cool, right, Gillian?
Yes, that is okay. Yes, that is what I love about art. That's what I've always loved about art. Some of the best work I've ever done in my life. There was a point where I was like, this is a disaster, but I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going. And some of like I'm not kidding, some of my best work has come out. And sometimes it's not been my best work, but I've been glad that I finished it, glad that I didn't trash it. I very rarely trash my work. It doesn't really happen anymore. Because it's a part of your journey. Each piece you do your journey, and it's beautiful in its own way. It might not be what you wanted it to be, but it is what it turned into, and that is special because of the time you spent doing it. Textures, playing with different things too. I think like when you talk mixed media, that is a time where things are going to go wrong, and you kind of, I think, want to go in with the headspace too, that like, it's okay if there's a mistake here. This is okay.
Well, and the thing is too, is people, it's that self-criticism that stops them, and what they think is a mistake, somebody else will look at it and they'll say, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful piece. And when you allow your expectations to override your creativity, that's where you're going to start to get into trouble. And for example, when I'm doing something, I have intentions of going somewhere with it, but as I'm doing stuff, I may run into problems, so I'll start going somewhere else with it. And I'll tell you, every piece that I've done, I can probably point out upwards of 5-6 mistakes on it, and people would never know that. And that's what gets me, is you would never know. And I had someone in our group, I can't pull the name right now, but they dumped coffee on their work. So instead of throwing it out, they went ahead and finished it. And had they not said, I dumped coffee on this, I never would have known. It was beautiful.
Wow. Okay, funny story about coffee as a medium. When I was at Spruce Meadows, I'm sure you've heard of it. It's like a big show. It's like a world-class show jumping facility in Calgary. They have this annual like fair, and artists from all over, like fine artists who specialize in equine art of some kind, go. And this one artist entirely paints with coffee on wood, and the images were like incredible and entirely painted with coffee. Sorry, small aside. But yeah, that is a very good point, ILene. The other thing I think about when you mentioned when a mistake happens, do you think that it sometimes shifts your piece almost in a different direction, and when you finish, you realize you wouldn't have gone that direction without the mistake, and sometimes you like the direction
absolutely.
it went because of the mistake?
Absolutely, I've had that happen. In fact, you're looking at a piece where I had mistakes on it, and this door, I had just gotten in my metallic paints from Arteza, and I was playing around with it, and I ended up using different metallics on here. And let me pull in just a little bit. And so when I did that, all right, let me see if I can get that. Oh, there we go. There we go. So there are different like metallic paints on here, and I was just, you know, just screwing around with it because I wanted to see the different metallics. Well, when everybody saw this piece, they go, "Oh my gosh, ILene, that is so beautiful, and that door just looks," you know, everybody's talking about the door, and I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, if you only knew." And I thought, okay, you know, but again, this is just the you know, moshing of the different paints, the bronze, the gold, the whatever, and everybody loves it. And that's why, guys, you can't self-criticize like this. You just got to quit that because it'll take you in a neat direction. One of our artists that visits, Maribel Sanchez, she has been doing some images that she's painting with coffee. So what she did is she used 2 strengths of coffee, and she did a really short video on painting a piece that she has drawn. She's a wonderful artist as well, illustrator, and she's painting her pieces, and it looks drop dead gorgeous, just gorgeous.
That's amazing. I am going to check out all of the artists that are in this group. I'm so excited to get to like connect with new artists across the world. And yeah, coffee painting to me, just like, that is so cool because, you know, for people who buy, we all know how expensive art supplies are, right? Like the pencils, the markers, paints are crazy. Like I'm used to spending a lot of money on paints. I'm the person who will go to the art store and buy like jars of like granular stuff to like create texture and all that, and it's not cheap. And pigments are not cheap, and a lot of art, like, not to get like too eco-friendly, but it's got a lot of paint has like plastic and stuff in it, and you know, isn't necessarily the most eco-friendly. And coffee is such a cool, like, again, paint with what you're going to paint with. I still paint with all the things, but it's cool to see people create with like what's essentially free pigment. That's like that's such a challenge. So kudos to them.
Yeah, and what's the most unusual thing that you've painted with or used? I mean, I went ahead and incorporated little pebbles and sand on here, and you know, the caveat to this is don't go crazy with adding stuff. You want to add it up to the point that, you know, you don't want it to look garish. So that's the one thing. But I just went ahead and I got some little pebbles from Amazon because they let me buy the uniform size there, and I bought some sand, and I thought, that would look really cool. So sand and pebbles, just to add this, not too expensive, and it makes a neat piece. So what's the most unusual thing you've used?
I think you got me beat. I think the closest I would say is I once worked on excuse me, an acrylic piece that was on wood board, and it was a wedding gift for my husband's best friend, and she's from the US originally, and she married a Canadian and like came up, and so I did sort of a background where I split a Canadian and a US flag, and then I put their dog in the middle. And on the US flag, I Mod Podged text that I printed out backwards of the anthems, and put them kind of in the white space between, but I kind of like weathered it over them with like some different glosses and textures and granular things, so it kind of had a distressed look. And I'll have to find, I know she'll have some pictures of it. I will find it. It's an old painting, but yeah, Mod Podging text onto the page was kind of a different thing for me, but I had a lot of fun with it. I've also done that with newspaper and other things, but never like for a very specific purpose, but never pebbles. That is very cool.
Well, and you know, it also brings to mind, I did a piece one time that had, I think it was in a coloring book called Fanciful Faces. That's hard to say. And the lady had wood trees for hair, you know, wood trees. And so the question came up, what gel pens, by the way, do you like to use? So,
yeah, I was actually just responding, but I didn't, because I didn't want to interrupt you, so I was just typing.
Yeah. So so what I did, or what I was thinking about on that, is you can go out and take small twigs, just little twigs, pieces of wood, you know, go out and get that and add that as your extra little pieces on your piece. And that's why, you know, I've picked up the moniker the Queen of Custom Coloring. And the reason for that is because when I take a page, my question is, what else can I do with it? And so I've taken black pen and I've drawn extra stuff on there. I had a Kirby Roseanne's where sometimes he doesn't finish stuff, so I'll finish or I'll add to it. I mean, never to the point that it would get into copyright. I mean, it's not even near that. But let's see, Lila says, stick with us, Gillian. We dare to add bling and try different stuff. So there you go. So yeah, you should love this group. So anything like that. Leaves, you know, you can add a leaf on there. Just the possibilities are endless without getting stupid about it. I've added extra swirls on a page. I've added eyes to pieces. Hannah Lynn did a piece that she didn't finish her eyes, so I finished them, drew them in, just stuff like that all the time, and that's always my encouragement. So black pens are something I use quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I love that you make the pieces your own, and really like ask that question with each one. That's so cool.
Yeah, so we have lots of fun with that, and again, I think that as my group is learning that and to be more adventurous, Maddie, I think Maddie's in here. Maddie likes to take pictures from magazines and I think newspapers and old pictures, and she adds them also to pages and puts them into a journal. And it's just really fascinating to see because she's got a whole different kind of art that she does along with the coloring. And so now I'm seeing in her coloring that she's adding some pictures that have come from a magazine or, you know, whatever the case may be. And it's really fascinating to see that.
That is so cool. And you know, speaking of, I should mention from a copyright perspective, like, yeah, you guys can add anything you want to these. The only time it's a violation of any copyrights usually is if people are selling the work, and that can be tricky because sometimes some artists sell like colored prints, and they don't want people to be selling like colored work. But if you're not selling it, you can do anything. And I love that you're getting outside of the box with it. And this is challenging me. I'm going to have way more fun with my coloring. Stephanie was requesting some examples of my colored work, so I could show a couple. They're not nearly as like I need to add some bling to this. Like, so this is one. You know, there's some sparkle in the gel pens there, but now I'm like, okay, what can I add to this? Because that is super cool. This is one of my first ones that I colored, and you can see, like, you know, I went past the lines there, and you know, at the end of the day, like, I still love this one because it when I started coloring that, I think that's the other thing, you know, when we talk about mediums and exploring, I really check in with my mood when I start, and I was stressed when I started this one.
Yeah.
And in the process of coloring, I got super relaxed and I was very joyful and very happy by the end of it. And I think like what you put onto the page is very much impacted by your mood. So you can see like there's these dark kind of moody colors, but there's, you know, a little bit of hint of brightness here and there as I kind of like came into it and relaxed. And I think when we talk mediums and fun things like that, like art is a way to express what's going on. Oop, I'm tapping my ears. Express what's going on in here and in here without words, because sometimes it's hard to put what we're feeling into words. It's too intense, it's too much, and that's the joy of getting to play with all of these different things. And when we break outside of the box and outside of our comfort zone, it just gives us more ways to express what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing, and as long as you don't go overboard with your additions, I don't know if you're aware on this particular image that I'm showing you now, but that concrete wall was not there. So that I showed everybody how to put that in, and then these concrete blocks, you know, with the angles on them and the little keystones, that was not there either. So I went through and showed everybody how to add that. And then on the door itself, this is an extension. You know, this came up a little bit, and then I just extended it a little more. I added this completely different with a stencil. And, you know, a couple people thought I went a little overboard on it, which is, you know, fine. I absolutely have no ego in what I do. I show people how to do stuff, and you know, if it's a little much for them, that's fine either way. But at least I've taught them how to go ahead and add that stuff.
Yeah, but again, that's now like that you've done that. Like sometimes the odd piece gets overworked or underworked, but each one kind of grows you, and like that's a very, very cool skill to be able to color in and shade in brick that looks so realistic.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's going to serve in other pieces, and same with those swirls and that stencil. Although I would say I love this piece, I don't think it's overworked, but I like a lot. So that's just me. But
Yeah.
you know, for sure there are some people that just like a more simple piece. I mean, look at interior design, look at the way people dress. I mean, that's also a way to express yourself. I have pink hair and moon earrings, and this is a shirt dress, and it's designed by a really cool like Winnipeg designer who is also an artist. And he actually takes his clothes when they're done and he paints them into acrylic pieces. So like
Wow.
his clothing is never wasted. It's really, really neat. So, you know, like that's, you know, there's so many ways for us to express ourselves, and everyone has different tastes. And at the end of the day, taste is taste. I mean, there's no point in apologizing for it. It's who we are.
Yeah,
You know,
and
if someone doesn't like it, that's okay.
yeah, and
That's
I think where a lot of people get into trouble is expectations. You know, they get a solid expectation in their mind, and they won't flow with whatever comes out, and that's where they're making a mistake. You know, on this piece, this one pretty much went according to plan. Oh, and I also taught people how to make this, shade it to make it come up and make it look like there was a dimensional effect on it. So that's what I do with each piece that I go through is I teach a skill with or just color with it. And what I love to do is I'll say, okay, guys, what color should I make, you know, such and such. And so we have a lot of fun with that. Um, let's see, let me grab something real quick.
Wanted to say, Katie, that's very cool that you are into all the crafts. I was also a very crafty child. I liked making moccasins amongst many other fun things, but I have not gotten into jewelry or quilting, but it was something that I was always intrigued by. So I'm sure one day I will be following in your footsteps, playing with that when I have some space.
Yeah.
Anyway.
On
Which
this
I will.
piece,
We're actually moving, and I will have a full art studio in our new house, which I'm super excited about.
congratulations on the purchase of your new house, which was really funny because in the middle of all our discussions, you were in the middle of buying the house. So,
That's a little crazy. Yeah.
Gillian and I would be talking by text, and like all of a sudden she'd like just disappear, and I'm going, "Hey, wait a minute, can we finish this,
Like,
please?"
yeah, I was juggling quite a few moving parts with that phase, but we're near the tail end of the hard part, which is great. But this is amazing. Wow, I love this piece. It's very like Art Deco kind of.
Exactly, Art Nouveau. And the neat thing about this is blue metallic paint, the Arteza paint. This is pencil. This is markers here. And then we added. We bought the little. I bought the little rhinestones. Let me pull you in. See if you can
Ooh, I see them. They're so fun.
Yeah.
Little butterfly.
So that's a simple sticker that was put on there. There's the rhinestones that were added in the middle of
Very
the
clever.
flowers. Little teeny tiny rhinestones that are added on the jewelry piece. And as we were talking, I think Melissa said, hey, how about putting a little rhinestone or gem on her finger to make it look like a ring? So, yeah.
Love it.
So it really made me happy because that tells me that as I'm teaching this stuff, everybody's starting to see the application. Now, this one, conversely, I don't know if you recognize this. It'll help if I pull out. But this is called the Kiss. And does this look familiar to you, Gillian?
No, it
Okay.
doesn't.
This was the end of World War II. And there's a very, very famous picture where a man literally grabbed a lady in the street and just kissed her, leaned her over backwards and kissed her, and a photographer caught it on camera. And it got to be a very popular image, and then they made it into coloring books and photographs and stuff like that. And so this one I'm just doing with straight, pencil, probably. Well, I know I won't add any bling because this is around 1945. And so this is not appropriate really to add much extra to it at all. So that was my point about not getting carried away with just going ahead and doing stuff. Now, this one I'll be doing, it's a, what is this? It's a chameleon. And so this one will lend itself to colored pencil and then maybe a little bit gel pen, that sort of thing. So it all depends, of course, on what you're doing. And I'm glad to see that people are starting to be adventurous and trying different things. And I really even love it when they suggest something to me because, again, that tells me they're thinking in the direction.
Yeah, and you know what I like you showed me something you did with eyeshadow once, and I do see it, and I'm not gonna, again, no shade, but I noticed in a lot of like Facebook groups, and I grew up riding horses, with very, very, very wealthy people. I was not the wealthy one. I was always the one like cleaning the stuff of the wealthy kids. Like, yeah, like I get people like brand name stuff. I am an artist too, and like there's certain paints that I swear by, but you can't like get too, like sometimes it can become a crutch. I think like people are like, oh yeah, like I only color with this or only color with that, and
Yeah.
you can kind of get stuck in your coloring or your art, and breaking out of that comfort zone. I mean, you're going to create really different stuff than you would have otherwise, and it's nice when people don't focus so much on the brand sometimes. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you do need to just delve into like a really luxurious pencil, and I totally get that. But I love that you play with like anything that can give you pigment, to see what it will do.
Yeah.
So cool.
So now my question back to you is, knowing the artists the way that you know them, how do you think that they will feel with having, I guess our catch-all word is bling added to it, whether it be stones or, glitter. I've got glitter. What do you think they'll think of that?
Oh, they'll love it. Yeah,
Okay.
they'll love it. It's fun to see again, like your work reimagined. And it, when I say your work, when you publish a book, when you put your art out, it's your work, but it's not. You're sharing it with the world. So it's fun to see what you've shared turning into lots of different things. And I think that's, I don't think my artists would mind that. I think they'd love it.
Okay. Well, we'll see how they react when they start seeing their stuff with stuff on it. Okay.
I mean, I do have one artist who paints like or creates like primarily. I showed you his work. Like it's very intricate, but it's like fantasy gnomes and dragons and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where I'd put bling in those, but I'm sure I could find a place.
Actually, it's kind of funny. I do need to show you this one thing. This is from Kirby Roseanne's, and we were coloring in this, and we added some sunglasses to the one gnome, just out of fun. This has some glitter on the lamp, of course, but the really funny thing, so I don't know if I should show you this.
Please show me the cork. I love it.
Yeah. Do you see this gnome's hatchet and what's on the blade?
Blood?
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. He came back from battle and he's relaxing.
Well, everybody was saying that he was out in the field harvesting beets, so that's why his blade turned black or red. So of course now I get this other gnome, right? And I don't know if you can see it on here. Can you see the blood on the top?
My cheeks hurt from laughing. That is so funny. I love it. Yeah, I think the quirk, artists are generally, not to make a generalization, but I will. We're all a little different. We I think we're drawn to art because we like to create, and there's all different kinds of creatives, but most of us, like, we're pretty curious and open-minded bunch, and we like to see different things all the time. That is, like, for I don't know if you're familiar with, like, there's so many different personality types, but one that I'm very, very familiar with is called the Enneagram. And the 7 is the type that literally requires variety constantly, and without it they're chronically bored and unhappy. They need change, and they also crave, like, feeling good. They just love having fun. Obviously that's my type. And yeah, like, that variety and just changing it up is so, like, that's part of why you need to create, is because you don't see enough variety in the world, so you have to, like, make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to explain sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
And another thing that I want you to know, and I want your artists to know, is that anything that gets posted in my group absolutely has to have title and artist. And there's 2 reasons for that. Obviously, for copyright reasons. That's a big thing with Facebook.
Yeah.
But also, what I tell my group members is, if somebody else sees the piece that you've colored and they want to color it, you know, they need to know where to get it. Now, I've taken a little bit of heat from my members because they'll photograph, you know, the front of the book and post the front of the book with the image, but not say anything in the text. It has to be in the text, because it's my understanding that that's what Facebook searches. They don't necessarily have the ability to search the pictures to know that you've done that. So in the text, it has to have artist and book name, and then that way people know where to get it. And I don't allow anything from Google or Pinterest because of all the theft. So that's a biggie as well.
Oh man, I could go on art theft. It is such a difficult thing to deal with, and it's a constant battle to deal with it. And I so appreciate when consumers are conscious of that, because, like, the way Amazon works is they will take plagiarized work down, but they won't, they make money off of it. So they crack down on it if people complain, because their number one prerogative is obviously to have a good customer experience so that people will buy their products and enjoy buying their products. And they do a very good job of that. But they don't lose money when someone plagiarizes, only the artist does. So they'll take the work down, but they don't give that original artist the royalties from those sold books. And there are people who their sole career is ripping off art, often from free downloads, and throwing it up on Amazon and waiting until it gets deleted, but they just keep doing it. And it's tough. It does hurt artists a lot. So I always appreciate when people are conscious buyers, because, you know, art theft is, some people think nothing of it, which I've always, obviously, being when I struggle to wrap my head around, because it's like, well, you wouldn't want your work or whatever you do to be stolen. You wouldn't want to work for free either, and you don't want to be stolen from. Just because it's art doesn't mean that it's free. Someone labored to make that and labored to put that into the world, and, you know, maybe they went to school for 8 years or whatever to learn how to do that thing, and put it out into the world, right? It is heartbreaking, and it happens so often, and Amazon definitely doesn't do enough about it. But I understand why, is because ultimately they don't necessarily lose money doing that. They only lose money when people complain.
Yeah, well, and I see that there are a lot of good people on Facebook, especially in the coloring book community, in that if one person sees something being duplicated on Amazon or stolen, word spreads very quickly. So we, you know,
I have seen
and
that. Blows my mind. I appreciate it so much. Every time I see it, I get like a little fist bump. But, you know, there's always someone who will post, like you say, something from Google or Pinterest, and I've seen arguments like, well, I can't afford it, and it's like, okay, like, I understand, but lots of artists give out free work. They give out free pages, free downloads too, and, you know, like, that's what that's intended for. If it's not free, then, you know, that's their choice, and, you know, we need to honor that as consumers, because, you know, otherwise it's theft, and, you know, no one likes no one likes being stolen from, right? So Yeah, as you can tell, I get emotional about it because it's happened to me a couple of times and it's frustrating. But I actually get more upset when it happens to like my artists or people that I care about. I'm one of those that I get like really protective of my people and my tribe.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's art theft is just and it's the same thing with books too. It's a big problem with ebooks. They get pirated all the time, and literally every writer I know has had their book pirated. And
Mm,
it's just
mm.
like defeating because it's already so hard to not have a regular paying job and take a chance on your creativity. You don't know when you're going to make money and pay your bills, and so like that's it's yeah, it's frustrating to see, but I so appreciate when people enforce that. So I'm sorry you've gotten heat for it, ILene, in your group, but I'm glad you do it because it shows you are an artist-centric group, both for colorists and artists, and that is nice to see.
Yeah, oh, exactly, exactly. And again, if somebody likes something that's been colored and they want to know where to get it, all that information has got to be in the original post. It's like, duh, because you want to be able to spread the joy. And in fact, when people post, I ask them also to please give a brief explanation as to how they colored it or if they had problems with it or what they liked about it, that sort of thing, because it's so good to have that background. And
Yeah.
let's see, there's a comment from Katie at Gillian, a publisher. I wanted to let you know. Hold on. Let me grab that. I got to check the comment. So Gillian, as a publisher, I wanted to let you know a pet peeve of mine on coloring books and will return a book because of it. When the picture on the cover is not in the book as a fully colorable picture. Let's see.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Katie. That was a thing for me too. All of my books, the cover image is available to color on the inside.
Yeah.
Most of my books, like okay, when it comes to producing a book, I'll open the lid. When it comes to creating the cover, I design them myself, but I will go with the artist. And one of two things, because sometimes the artist actually doesn't want to color it; they're a line artist only, and I have a very, very, very good coloring person who helps me color. Um, but if they didn't do it, I might do it, or the artist does it. Sometimes the artist wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, we take an image and I look at the book and I look at the market and I look at other covers and I go like, could we use one that exists, or do we need to create something new? And there have been some where I've gone like, we cannot stint. We must create a new piece, and that piece I will always get in black and white along with what's on the cover, so that people can enjoy what they see on the cover. And other times I take an image that is in the book already, and that's what is colored, and it works, and it's nice. But there have been the odd time where I've like, for example, there's one called Elemental Beasts, and that's a cover me and the artist were both really proud of. It was a very intensive collaboration, and it's a stunning cover. She took all of her creatures and blended them so well and created this really cool kind of vignette. And
yeah.
that was one I was so excited to get in the book, and I colored it myself with some pencils, and it was a delight. So yes, Katie, I agree. That is also a pet peeve of mine, and one I'm very careful not to. I definitely make sure I don't not include the cover image because it's misleading otherwise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is very misleading. Okay, did you see the question about have you thought about making a book color by number?
I will be doing so. Basically, where I'm at right now in our production is we have another almost 40 books to put out that are not colored by numbers. And each book takes me between a couple days to like a couple weeks, depending on how intense and complicated it is. Some of the books I'm also adding like written content to. Like for example, I have a plant book where there's a lot of content about plants that I produced and wrote out. That's just interesting and adds to the book and makes it a fun experience. So those can take a little bit longer. But basically, with color by numbers, that is my next thing. But full disclosure, I am so bad at math, like chronically bad. In school, I got banned from reading in the fourth grade because I could read at a university level in the fourth grade, but I could not understand 2 + 2 = 4. Anything over like 50, I struggle. So colored by numbers has never been something I've understood. It's not something like it doesn't work with the way I color. So I will be getting some help with those when we're ready to launch into color by numbers, because I know people love them and I want to create products for every type of colorist. It's just, it wasn't my number one at the beginning. Same thing with grayscale. I personally don't love color in grayscale, but I know other people do. So we have plans for color by numbers and grayscale once we produce the rest of these nearly 40 pure liner books.
Super. And did you see the question about the other thing is many of us take our books apart and appreciate page numbers? How do you feel about that?
So question, do you want the page number on the image itself or before? Because one thing, I'm just going to show you guys an example. So one thing I did when I designed the books was I named, and sometimes I know this one I didn't number, but I named each piece, or I numbered each one with a black page here. And then I put in, and this was just from like looking at how people color. I created these coloring notes. I've actually improved upon them since then. Like they're a little bit nicer. I got some better feedback from people to make this a little better. But people do enjoy the coloring notes section because as you're going, sometimes it's hard to remember what you're doing. That's how I am. So it's nice to have something to write on really quickly that's right there where you can like leave your notes. So I have since added page numbers to like the black page, but I don't put them on the image itself. But if people think that that would enhance the experience, that's easy to do because most of our books, our images are set on an inset border, so it's not hard to put a number below. I just didn't because to me, it doesn't look as clean. But if that's a value add, it's very easy to change.
What about adding maybe a previous page number on the back of the previous page only so that there's no number on whatever's being colored?
Yeah, that's what this is one of the earlier books I put out. I did start doing that with the later ones, numbering the black page where I like name the piece and offer like a black background version of the image, or I'll sometimes do like a funky like design as well. Depending on, because certain images just don't look good on black pages and some look amazing. So the books where it really worked, I did that, and others I would kind of design a little vignette or that sort of thing and add it there. So
yeah, because the comment came up is I mean you just put a page number on the back of the previous page. So in other words, every other page would be numbered, but it's not on the image itself, so it doesn't mess up any design on there. Okay.
Yeah, that's I think I'm gonna implement that. See, I'm already getting valuable feedback. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing I wanted to start talking about too. Okay, the question was, have you ever thought about hiding your initials in each piece?
No, but I will now. That's such a cool idea. I love it.
You know, that would be a way to maybe take care of any theft, is to hide initials on that.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but because again, like depending on the design, it might wreck the design. But yeah, like I mean, at the end of the day, theft is going to happen. It's just something you kind of just have to swallow. Like you can get very creative, and people like people who steal, like they're not always creative, but there are some that are like amazing. Like they will take like a screenshot of your website and like draw it themselves, but like fill in the bits where you put a watermark over. It'll happen. I mean, it is sort of like you just deal with it as it comes, and you try to educate people and explain like, hey, thank you so much when you point out art thefts. Keep doing it. It is so helpful. It makes artists want to keep doing what they're doing. Because I will tell you, it has happened to me, but not as bad as some. And it's so demoralizing, and I've seen people want to quit when they've had their work stolen and that sort of thing. So you just encourage people to continue doing it, but I've made my peace with it. I know it'll happen, but I do get hot under the collar sometimes still. But it is just, I mean, you can only like, you can implement your like you can watermark like a light enough, if you blow it up big enough you can see it. Okay, watermarks can work too, but there are ways around them. Like again, if people I don't know if people are familiar with an app called Procreate, but it's
Yeah.
an iPad drawing tool. There are lots, but it's ridiculously easy to copy work through Procreate with watermark. You can delete it with like you can get rid of watermarks in Photoshop if you know what you're doing, even without the layer saved. It's not foolproof, but
Yeah.
you do your best to watermark it as much as you can and put a pencil over it as much as you can. But if you put your work out on the internet, it will get stolen at some point.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. And you try to educate the people who are buying it so that they're not feeding into that as much as possible. And you ask whoever is hosting it to take it down. But like, there is a website out there that like outright like looks like a normal website and steals every single ebook on Amazon, and sells them and makes money off of it. Every single book. So every single author who is published on Amazon has had their work stolen.
Wow.
Which is
Well,
with me.
it's funny when I'm flipping through a book and I'm showing, you know, my group a new book that I got in, I try to keep my hands somewhere on the page and cover the image a little bit, you know, to keep it. Okay, so the question came up on Amazon. Is it possible for you won't find it because it was up a little ways, is it possible for you to add some of the pages from the books in Amazon? So in other words, some people will, some publishers, when you are thinking about a book, you can scroll, you know, they show the front and the back, but they don't show any internal pages. Have you thought about doing that as well?
So the way that works, the Amazon Inside Preview, every book will present 10% of the interior. You don't have a choice about it. It will show 10%. But it takes some time to link it. So if you see a book that doesn't have that, it just means that Amazon didn't link it. It also only works on desktop. It doesn't work on mobile. So if you're on your phone, you'll notice like it won't work, but if you're on a desktop, it will. And if as an author, like a publisher on that platform, you can write to them and ask them to increase what they show. And they will put a little copyright thing, and it'll be somewhat pixelated, but when you show a lot of those interior images, that is one way that people, like really lazy thieves, will actually screenshot that and put that into a book. But the book will get like 1 star and get taken off pretty soon because like the quality is terrible when you like it's like all pixelated and clearly a copy. I though got a review once on one of my books that someone said it was a copy and not original, and I was like, whoa, that's not true. But you know, reviews are difficult and you can't respond to them, so you just kind of have to let it sit there.
Okay.
But I think they did that because, you know, probably they're sensitive to it. And the particular book that they had bought was drawn in a more open and loose style. And there was a little bit of grayscale in it. And Amazon, no offense to Amazon, they don't always print grayscale the best, especially when it's just a little bit. If it's a full grayscale image, it works really well. But I've learned the little bit of grayscale, it can get a little pixelated, even if it's a high resolution, high quality file. So you'll live and learn. But yeah, that's what that Inside Preview is. It's I can't actually delete it. It's after a couple weeks they do put it on, but it can take time. Like I have had to write to them on a couple of books where it took longer than 2 weeks to get the Inside Preview activated. Yeah.
Okay.
That works on your phone.
But let me show you this.
Okay.
No, let me show you this. So this is on my phone. So here's a book. It's just the first one I pulled up. And if you scroll this now, it starts to show little teeny tiny blurry images. So that's what she was talking about. So see how they put marks across it, and then you can kind of go.
It's no longer available, that feature. So so it's no longer available on the platform that I use. However, there's 2 different ways you can publish on Amazon. So one is through their platform called KDP, and you have to use like their printer, their paper. You have no choice really at all. And it's not the best paper. I'm perfectly aware of that. I am going to be, my Etsy shop's just about launched, so we will be having downloads as well, so you can print on like high quality art paper. I'm an artist, so I love like nice thick paper. But I like that the Amazon books, they're affordable. I can make an okay profit on them and get a product out to people where they can test out the art. And it's still decent for markers and pencils and that sort of thing. But I'm fully aware that 70-pound paper is not great for watercolor. I I'm super sensitive to bend on paper. Being, you know, on a spectrum, I don't like bumpy paper myself. But what that was there's one other way that you can get on Amazon, which is the marketplace version, and then you can upload any images you want. But you are actually sending inventory into Amazon and you're controlling it. We hope to get there, but that does take time. You have to buy product. And to give you an idea, for me to order books, for each book, even if I only ordered 20, would be about $10,000-$15,000 just for 20 bucks. So it's a significant, and that's per market. So Canada, US, UK, Australia maybe, but basically when you do it that way, you can choose your images. But when you're on the regular KDP platform now, they only let you use their very specific tool. So you can't add watermarked interior images anymore, which is definitely a disadvantage. They also used to have like these mock-ups that you could add where it showed the book and it looked really nice, and they took that off too. So yeah, now it's a little bit more like this, you work with it or you don't, basically.
Okay, well, and one comment came by, some artists will do a video flip through that are linked to Amazon. Have you done that at all with your books?
So it is on the to-do list. I'm still in production mode trying to get all the books out before I start doing all the flip throughs. But what I've done in the interim is I have connected with a bunch of awesome YouTubers who have their own channels, and all they do is flip throughs on those channels. And I would say almost every book of ours is getting a flip through or has a flip through, and a few more I'm still waiting on getting them out to people, but that's what I'm doing for now. And then when we move into the new house, I will have a photo studio, and I also have like a bit of a photography background, so I plan to do my own flip throughs and photos and that sort of thing once I'm in a bit of a bigger space. I live in a very tiny house right now with not a lot of room to like do that kind of production value, and we're in a pandemic, so I can't even go rent a studio and do it that way either. We're on full lockdown, so yes, I will be doing it. It is on the list, but in the interim there are some videos of flip throughs on YouTube that you can find, and I'm happy to share some of those links if people want of any specific books that we have. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really great too. So the main thing is, and Dawn Boyer just popped in the room. She's another artist, and
yes,
Dawn.
I heard about awesome Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn, this is Gillian, and I've just announced that she and I have formed a relationship. That her artists will be coming through my group, and we will be promoting them, and we are all just over the moon and excited about it. So yeah, we're really excited about it.
You guys are so sweet.
I'm sorry, we're so what?
Sweet.
Oh, sweet.
Welcoming.
Sweet. Yeah, and we're pretty wonky too, so.
My kind of people.
Lila is being known as quirky, and I'm wonky, so you know we have fun. And actually, Jeff Haney.
I would say that my friends. Well, what's that?
Oh, I was going to say Jeff Haney, who's coming on tomorrow. He said I was nuts, in a sweet way.
That's a compliment.
Yeah, it is. It is. What were you going to say now?
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say my friends would all describe me as quirky. Yeah, that would be one of the main words that would pop up.
Okay, so we were, that's funny. So we were discussing suggestions for publishers, so if anybody else has, keep going with it. Yeah. Okay, so we talked about flip throughs, we've talked about line width and so forth, we talked about numbering pages, we've talked about coloring books that have the numbers on them, and Gillian said that that's in the works as well. And what about grayscale books? Did I miss that, or are you doing grayscale?
We will be doing, so I will be offering all the books that it makes sense to offer grayscale on. Like, for example, probably not the mandala book, it needs grayscale, but any book that like would do well with grayscale, people, creatures, that sort of thing, we're definitely doing. It is in the works, but we're first, I did a roadmap with my bank where I showed I was launching in phases to get like all my funding from them. So the first phase is this line art phase, and then the next phase is the grayscale and the color by numbers. So we'll make sure that we're, I'm kind of doing them in batches that way, just because it's it's easier for the way I work too. But it's also it helps them predict what's happening, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's exciting. I'm really looking forward to finishing this first launch and then moving into those next types of coloring books. They're very, very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting, and I'm really glad to see the feedback that we're getting in the group and questions for the publishers, because
Great questions.
we don't have a lot of opportunity to talk to publishers. And so, guys, this is where, if you have any questions while Gillian's here, this is the time to do it, because she will answer. And not only that, we're apparently giving her some ideas with some things. What I was going to say, Gillian, too, about the paper, I'm not too concerned about the paper weight in coloring books because, and I'm sure you know this, if not, then you'll find this out too, is a lot of us will copy the page onto whatever paper quality we like.
Yeah.
So, you know, Amazon is not known, as you know, for the best quality paper, and of course that's why we do that. And not only that, I have introduced different kinds of paper that have backgrounds on it or are dark. You know, we have a nice pattern on it. You know, it kind of looks like a treasure map type thing. I've introduced pastel paper for ideas. I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see this pattern. So,
That's
you know,
so cool.
yeah, I mean, you can do a pattern like that. And let's see what else we got here. Keep going and
I
talk.
love that you're a funky, fabulous colorist. That's awesome.
So the point is, there are a lot of papers that we can incorporate, and as I find papers that I like, I just go ahead and I tell my group about it. So this paper here, you can see the different colors. You know, there's a very dark that you can do. There's a nice.
I love that you're playing with paper colors. That's
Yeah.
like very much harkens to the pastel coloring world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love playing with darker colors with pastels. They really pop with like different color paper. That's so fun. Yeah, no, I think paper quality, you know, it's an interesting one, right? Because when you buy a coloring book, like some people buy the coloring book and they want to color in that actual book, and they have, you know, reasonably high expectations of what they can do with it. And, you know, obviously you get what you pay for a little bit too. Me, I've seen people do some really cool watercolor, but I'm like, when I see YouTubers doing it on like the Amazon paper, I'm always like, just because, like, you know, what I was taught, but also just my experience. I love coloring on or painting on really thick, pre-stretched watercolor paper that, you know, can barely even go through a printer. That's like the kind of stuff I like to use. So I recognize that I like this paper. To me, I'm like, well, not for watercolor, but for a lot of other things, it's great. But I like that you guys scan it, or you encourage scanning and playing with different mediums. You're going to get more out of it because you can also color it like more than once when you do it that way, right? So that's really smart.
Okay, so let me ask you this. And the idea came up, Katie said, Lila, guess where I was to buy my bling today? Dollar Tree. So yeah, that harkens back to, you know, that we were talking about all that. So let me ask you, and Dawn's in the room, I believe she still is. She absolutely does not want to put anything out on PDF, and I'm assuming basically that it's because of theft. So let's see what she says.
So it was a difficult decision for us too to decide to do PDF. I literally only put my work out. I'm actually getting permission from each artist, even though I can. I'm triple checking with them because it just makes it really easy, right? Because, you know, whatever you price it at, it's so much easier for them to just, oh, I'll pay like the $6, $7, $8 for this downloadable, and I'm sure I'll make $50 in book sales, you know, for as long as the book lasts, and then it'll get taken down, but I've made $40, so they deem it worthy. So Dawn, I do not blame you. I am struggling with it, but a lot of people have asked for the downloadables, and also there are some customers that can't buy from Amazon, or like really don't want to support Amazon at all, but really want to support us and want to buy our products. And since we're not at a financial place where, you know, we have the next level to do that phase where we're going to print and produce our own and warehouse them and do that, you know, I had to make that difficult choice of, well, do I want to give people access to these artists still, for the ones that either are unable to order from Amazon or for personal reasons choose not to, and I don't blame them for those reasons. So that's why I'm choosing to do it, but I'm not putting every book out. I am getting permission from each artist and just basically letting them know, like, if this happens, that there's a likelihood that it will happen, but I'm the publisher. I will go chase them down. That's my job. But yes, Dawn, I don't blame you. It is, why make it so easy for them, right? But that was a tough choice that I ended up landing on, and that's the way I'm mitigating it, is I'm just getting permission from the artists, and I know it'll happen for every single PDF that goes on downloadable on our store. You know, that's the reality, and it is frustrating. You know, I'll keep an eye out, and the other thing is, I think when the reason we didn't rush to do that too is when you have a recognizable brand and people like know you, it's a lot harder for those people to get away with it, because more people will flag it like, hey, no, that's Dawn's, I recognize that. So that's yeah. Oh yeah, Dawn. Yeah, I see. Yeah, and of course those pictures are all over the internet and Pinterest. Absolutely. And it is so frustrating. So yeah, I don't blame you. We all have to make our own you know, decisions to figure out how that's going to work. But yeah, I hear you 100%. I'm hoping we'll get to a place where we're able to do that inventory where we're printing and shipping our own as well within a year, but you know, it might take a little longer. It'll depend on how many books we sell on Amazon in the interim. So but yeah, Dawn, even my pictures that are on my website that are watermarked and protected, people have stolen like pixelated versions of them, and they're on like sites that, you know, have viruses. So yeah, no, it will happen. So it's a tough call. I mean, I don't blame anyone who doesn't want to do it, and I didn't want to do it for a long time either. But I'm giving in because enough people have asked and have said that they really want to support us, but they just can't support Amazon. So
Yeah. Isn't there a way though to lock a download? So in other words, somebody can only download it once, and then after that they can.
There's tools out there where they can screenshot it, and again, these people don't care about the quality of the file. They just want the image so that it can show up on Amazon on that look inside feature, because on the look inside it's already pixelated whether it's a high quality file or not, and they just want enough people to buy it, basically for them to make their money until it gets taken down.
Oh man.
And then of course the other websites that sell downloadables and you know, these weird random third-party websites as well, and then people pay, you know, and then it arrives and it's pixelated, and then they're frustrated, but they paid their money. So you know, yeah, it happens a lot. And again, these people deem it worth it because it's a numbers game, and also like there are lots of places in the world where $40 is like $1,000 here, so it's worth doing.
So let me ask you this question now. Yeah, Dawn says that Amazon pictures are only 72 DPI and heavily pixelated. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah. I have a graphic design background too. Actually, you know, the other weird thing that I used to do, we all have our weird hobbies. So me being a weird horse girl, and I couldn't afford horses myself, I used to play these weird online horse RPGs, and there was this one called Horseland. And this Horseland website, it was all about designing cool pages. So I taught myself Photoshop when I was 11, so that I could graphically design like these horse images, and I learned web design and stuff all through my nerdiness playing this horse game, which is so embarrassing. But yeah, like I was the pixelation and graphic design and that sort of thing. That is also why I'm able to design the books, because I've been playing with Adobe products since I was a very young child.
Yeah.
Some kids played video games. I played floor planning with house software and designing horse pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but no, it is a frustrating thing to deal with, and Amazon, like I said, love them or hate them, they do make it so that you can get your product in print without having to buy inventory, and there is a sustainability mode to that, which is you're not going to do that if the product isn't going to sell. If you're ordering, like typically the way the traditional publishing industry works, most people print out of China, because that's where it's the cheapest, and they print in minimums of 1,000, and they come over on a boat, and then they get warehoused wherever, and they sell or don't sell, but they take up space, also the time like shipping them and that sort of thing. It's not the most sustainable thing in the industry. Oh, thanks, Katie. And yeah, so that's one thing that I do like about the Amazon platform, is that it's print on demand, meaning um, usually like bestsellers, like I do have some books where they'll say 2 left. It's because they pre-printed it because it's selling well enough where they will pre-print them, but they do small runs. But it's nice because it means that you're only taking the resources for what's actually necessary and being used, which I think is super cool. So that's one nice thing about Amazon, but the downside is, of course, that I don't think they have enough quality control, and they don't have enough plagiarism control. So it is a little bit of a publisher beware and buyer beware scenario, which isn't great. And I will say, like, I'm not even commenting on the regular like book industry, because there are lots of problems that Amazon has in the book industry. One thing that they do is they, like, for example, on the ebook side, they make it so you can buy a book and return a book 3 months later. So people can read the full book and return it and get their money back. And the authors make $0, or get it taken off of their royalty check. So, they definitely do some things that the authors and illustrators of the world don't love. But, they do offer this opportunity where people can test out products and see what works. So I'm paying close attention to what's selling. And the ones that are selling really well will be the first ones that we start ordering ourselves and stocking ourselves with, like, nice high quality paper and that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah. So Dawn mentioned that if you look on the very last page of a print on demand book, they'll have the printer ID.
Yep. Yeah, that's a legal requirement. If you, oh, sorry, I'm here on the other side. That's a legal requirement for you to state where a book is printed if you printed it yourself. So if someone's paid to have it printed, it's usually in that front copyright, and you actually have to say where it was printed. That's a legal requirement for the International Book, it's called ISBN barcode system. You have to say where it was printed. So like books in Canada, it's kind of cool. They're printed in Markham, Ontario, and you can like see that. There you go.
Oh, okay, got it.
So, I don't have to put that in these books, but if I were to, like, I actually have a printer locally here in Edmonton that is willing to do runs of 20 for me, which is really great. And when I do that, like, their information would go on this like front copyright page right here.
Okay.
So yeah, I love publishing. Can you tell I love this industry? I think it's super fun. I could talk about it all day. I don't want to bore you guys, but yeah, thanks, Don. Yeah, that's a little bit about KDP Don is allowing hardcovers, but their paper interior is still the same, and they have had some issues with their hardcovers with how they're coming out. But overall, like, I haven't done a beta yet. I am on the list. I could make a hardcover if I wanted to, but I'm waiting to see how they turn out ultimately, because a lot of people have had some trouble just formatting the covers, and a bunch of my self-publishing groups, it's really tricky compared to the normal way that they did it. So they're still working out some of the kinks, just even on the design front, let alone on the production side. But it is cool. It's exciting. It's unfortunate that they didn't allow it for books that are, I think it's like under 70 pages, because a lot of picture books, like, there are a lot of people who are on Amazon who do picture books, and those are the ones that really want the hardcovers. And a lot of them do order from China and ship over because they can't get a hardcover through Amazon, and pretty much every other print on demand service that offers hardcover, they're like $40, and it's so cost prohibitive that no one would buy them. So yeah, it's too bad that they have that minimum, but for coloring books, it is definitely something I'm exploring. I don't know, would you guys pay more for a hardcover coloring book when the interior paper is the exact same as the soft cover? I'm curious.
Oh, well, yeah, put that out, put that question out there and let's see what they say. Don was
Yeah.
Don was wondering too, has the printer published more of the book and selling them as used on the side?
Um, could the retailer's ISBN versus the publisher? I can talk about ISBNs a little bit and talk about how Amazon Marketplace works. So anybody can buy like 100 copies of one of our coloring books and actually, I don't want to say hijack the listing. Yeah, Barnes and Noble is actually really decent. We are going to be on them. I ordered and tested and I was pretty impressed, but I'm in Canada, so it took a long time for me to get all of that, especially with the shipping across the border. But the way ISBNs work, so Amazon offers two options. One, you use their free one, but this is careful because they actually, you can't publish that anywhere else when you use their ISBN. You have to get a different ISBN. It doesn't mean they own the work, but you can't publish with the ISBN anywhere else. So that's the first one. And otherwise, you buy your own. Um, yeah, Katie, the paper is the exact same. I checked. The interior paper is no different than the hardcover. So for me, it was like, I wouldn't do it myself, like as a consumer, but maybe some people would. Like maybe people like collecting nice hardcover. Yeah, John, yeah, they do only sell in the US. So I actually had to get it shipped to, I have family in Tri-Cities, Washington. So I have to get it shipped to them and then they had to mail it to me for me to even test the Barnes and Noble paper, and formatting, but I was happy with it. So we are adding ourselves to that because it's nice to give people other choices besides Amazon in the US. But obviously, we have customers all over the world. We sell really well in Germany, which I was surprised by, and quite a surprising amount in France, not as much as Germany, but still plenty, which is very interesting. But yeah, the way it works when it comes to the Amazon Marketplace is if someone orders, say, like 100 copies of my book, this Mercurial Mandala book, they could list it on Amazon at a different price. And sometimes people will do that. Oftentimes it's a more expensive price because they've paid full price for the other book. So this is more of a buyer beware situation. If you ever see a really weird price on an item, if you look under sellers, usually there's more than one seller, and there's the original seller and then this used seller. So, you know, we would still get paid our royalties, but then customers might be duped into paying $30 for a book that is $12. I'm using Canadian pricing, but as an example. So, no, Barnes and Noble doesn't offer free ISBN. That's Amazon. Barnes and Noble. Oh, I think actually they might. Let me double check. I do have a publishing group that's specific to Barnes and Noble, Don, that I will find that out because now I'm wondering because I've seen people talking about a Barnes and Noble ISBN. My memory is tickling there. But in Canada, we have one advantage, only one, and that is that we get free ISBNs. Our library government agency pays for them. So I get blocks of 100 ISBNs and yeah, I don't have to ever pay for them. So if you ever want to publish your own book, guys, whether it's like writing or coloring book even, and you ever have questions, I'm happy to help. You have to buy an ISBN if you don't want to use Amazon's. And they're, I think, 150 plus in the US. So it's not cheap if you're publishing like multiple books. It does add up. So that's one advantage I have in Canada. The rest, I don't, because shipping's more expensive and we have less people here and all of that. But we do get free ISBNs, which is awesome. But yeah, people can hijack your Amazon listing. So I always just like to put a little disclaimer on our website, like make sure you check the price, make sure you check that we're the seller. Yeah, I gotta say, yeah, 100 ISBNs for 500. That's actually really good. That's a lot of ISBNs. I know sometimes, so in the US, you can only buy them from one company. It's called Boker. But each country will have, they're only allowed one company that to sell ISBN, and that's who they picked there. Yeah, Katie. Yeah, $700. Now, out of print books, that actually is a thing. There are people who collect out of print books, just like they collect any collectible. Like in the horse world, there's this brand called Breyer. where like one model from the 90s can be worth like $10,000. So yeah, out of print books are another collector's item, and it's any kind of book. If it's coloring book too, if it's not been colored in, there might be a collector for it, which is, you know, fascinating when you think about it. But yeah, always check to make sure the author or the publisher is a seller, just to protect yourself too, because it would be unfortunate to overpay for a book. That would be so frustrating, and you're just paying some third-party person who, you know, bought a bunch. Now, Don, the other option that people have is Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark is another print-on-demand company, and they're basically what more people like, because they sell to libraries, they sell to stores, anyone can order wholesale, and you can set the wholesale discount. The problem is the quality is inconsistent, and they said they're working on it this year, but I haven't seen anything change there. And so it is, Amazon has some inconsistent quality too, but they will back it. Like if a product arrives to somebody and it's printed funny, you just literally, you don't even have to message us, you message Amazon and they will send you a free one, boom, like that. Whereas Ingram Spark, it is very difficult to get any like that sort of support. They just sort of, they never even answer their phone sometimes. Like there have been people who've tried, like authors who have ordered like 1,000 books and they've arrived crooked, things like that, where like they're waiting 72 hours to even hear back. So if the author is waiting, customers are just hooped. So yeah, like it's a whole thing. I mean, the publishing industry's changed a lot because of these print-on-demand platforms, and they are enabling artists like us to be able to produce and test without having to spend a lot of money, which is, I think, important. It does open up the world. It makes it so that they don't have to depend on hiring an agent, paying an agent 15%, working with a traditional publisher if that's not what works for them. They have choices now, but those choices do come with some caveats.
Interesting. Keep going.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm just reading, I'm catching up on these comments here.
Sure, please do.
ILene, I might have some collector coloring books. That is cool. And Don, I bought a book financed by one of those out of print. Yeah, out of print books. I mean, yeah, if you ever get a book or have a book that you saw go out of print and you haven't colored in it, you should sit on it. Because who knows? It's like Beanie Babies, right? Like maybe it's worth something down the line. Just hedging your bets. Scan it, don't color in it. Yeah, that is a whole thing, which is really cool. So, but yeah, there's lots of nuance to the industry, and I again, you can tell I'm passionate about it, and I love helping people. I actually had a coloring, like an artist who bought one of our books. She is making her own book now, and I was just like, okay, when you're ready, I will hold your hand on like all the things, because you know, it was a lot. It was a steep learning curve, but I know I had a massive advantage over a lot of other people because of my background in the publishing industry. Like, though we didn't publish books, I went to tons of conferences. We still paid attention to how that side operated because it still directly impacted our side. I connected with lots of people in the industry on that end as well. And again, Ruth herself was a very passionate bibliophile and art consumer. So, you know, I know I had a big advantage. And on the legal side too, I mean, I understand copyright really well because of my background there. So, and I know that's even a learning curve for people, how to write, you know, their copyright pages, that it's like legally binding and protects you, all of that. I'm not a lawyer, but when you're in it long enough, you do pick those things up. So this is an open invitation. If anyone ever wants to know how to publish on Amazon, whether it's a coloring book or not, I am happy to help and explain the ugly bits that comes along with it, and talk about resources. But yeah, you know, it's interesting. I love Amazon for other things. Like I love ordering supplies from them because yes, I would love to support my local art studio, but when you are a self-employed artist, price is important too. And I do try to support my local, but I mean, Amazon during this pandemic, I don't know about you guys, but in Canada, at least, we have really bad shipping for most cases. We have something called Canada Post. That's our mail system, and it is really bad. and Amazon in comparison is awesome. So like I've got my Ohuhu markers from them. I got my jelly rolls. You know, I got a lot of nice material, like I'm just naming off the top of my head, but I've gotten a lot of nice mediums and storage containers and things like that from them as well. So, I mean, there are some great things about it. You know, it allows people to get product for less than they might have been able to pay. And it's tricky because it does come at the cost of small local business. So it's a balancing act too. I don't know about you guys as consumers. I always like try to balance it between shopping local and ordering online from like aggregates like that. But oh yeah, and Dawn, I see you've been publishing yourself for 10 years. Yeah, old hat, great space. Yeah, Dawn, 3 to 4 weeks to get to Canada. That sounds about right. We okay, I didn't know this, but apparently coloring books are great to smuggle contraband
Oh,
across the border.
oh God.
I
Really?
had no idea.
Really? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I saw in a group someone was trying to get coloring books sent to Canada or back and forth, and they couldn't. It kept getting flagged because of this. And I brought it to my husband, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, like you're like yeah, that's a known thing." I'm like, "What? Am I living under a rock?" He's like, "No, it's like in the paper they put the drugs in it, and they wrap it all up, and it looks like paper, and it doesn't. I guess like it being folded in there, maybe it doesn't flag on sniffer dogs or whatever, but yeah, contraband." So yeah, they check the book sometimes, and sometimes they'll lock them and they won't even let them over,
Wow.
which is crazy. Yeah.
Okay. I don't.
Cindy, I can't wait to see all your posts about Amazon. That sounds awesome. But yeah, no, so whenever I send a book to people in the US, I do send direct via Amazon instead of mailing them. But it will be a problem, like probably what will happen when we move into our like Shopify store where we're like, you can order direct from our website and, you know, have different paper options. Like I've got big thoughts, big ideas. We will probably be warehousing in different countries. And also that's more sustainable anyways. You know, I was planning to print with a local UK publisher, a local US publisher, and a Canadian publisher so that shipping would be easier. It's just a very technical undertaking to do that, but I do have a background in web design, so that'll be a project once all these other books are out to get that ready for when we're at that next stage and we can do our first order and start selling like our own books and not relying so much on Amazon. A lot of big, I actually consider us both a publisher but also an e-commerce company. And a lot of e-commerce companies, they start with Amazon and they eventually shift over to Shopify. So that is our long-term goal, but Amazon guesses customers, guesses tests. Like again, there's a lot of things. Okay, so I'm seeing some crazy comments here. That's how they sneak drugs into prisons. They soak them into paper letters. Okay, so maybe this is how my husband knew. Because I was like, what? This is news to me. Yeah, they soak it in the paper and then they either dissolve it or eat it or whatever. Wow. Yeah, when do I sleep? Never. ILene knows this.
Yeah.
I am an insomniac. I usually go to bed at like 5 in the morning every day. But it does shift in the summer. So
Yeah, poor.
because our days are really long or short. So in Canada, where I live in the largest city this far north in the entire world. And it gets colder than the North Pole sometimes and darker. But we don't get like, I know in like really northern areas, like it's like months of night and that sort of thing. We don't get that, but our days get really short. And then in the summer, they get really long. So I do find in the summer, I flip the other way, which is weird because there's actually daylight going later, but it just works better for the way my brain works. And yeah, I sleep better in the summer because it like works better for my schedule. But yeah, Toronto here. Oh yeah, hi Lila. So you know, and okay, yeah, I've got lots of family out there. It is so cold. Like I know people say Alberta's cold, but Toronto is like damp. And when I go, like every time I've been there, I froze because it's like it just cuts through you in a different way. Like here it'll be -50, but there -10, -15 feels just as bad. And here -10 is like, oh yeah, this is beautiful. We're gonna go for a 5-hour hike. This is great. So yeah, that is so cool.
Let me ask you this, Gillian. You know, and you talked a lot about this as we were going along. As a publisher, what do you want the consumers of coloring books to know?
I think if I could pick anything, it's knowing about the plagiarism. I know we keep going back to that, but I'm glad that more people know about it. So I'm going to try a different one just to, you know, give you some other insight. I would say I want people who are buying the books to know that the artists who make them and the people who are producing them, for the most part, I would say like they want to create a nice experience for you. And so it's good to get feedback. One thing I would say is sometimes on Amazon and different platforms like that, you know, bad reviews, when they're fair, but sometimes if like for example, like if they give you a way to contact them, it's nice to get the direct review, because the thing is with Amazon and Etsy and any other platform is oftentimes you can't respond to the review, or if you do, it's tricky. And the other thing is it impacts the algorithm. So you actually, your book gets shown to less people. And sometimes bad reviews will kill a book. And sometimes it's like we say, kill a book. And sometimes it's deserved because it's stolen. So like that'll happen. But sometimes people get a bad review because it's like, I wanted a grayscale book and I got a line art book. And it's like, okay, well, that 1-star review really hurts the business and their ability to actually get other customers to look at it. So I know sometimes it's frustrating when you're not happy, but I would say like, I think all publishers and all authors and creators, when you get a bad review, it's hard not to take it personally. You know, I've got really thick skin. I'm used to, I grew up writing, being the kid who couldn't afford it. So I got a lot of hard feedback growing up. So I've learned to like take hard feedback and go like, okay, cool. Because, you know, feedback is a gift and it's there to help you. It's not invalid, even if it's not like correct. Like for example, like I did get that grayscale one and I'm like, okay, I need to put in more places in the description that it's a line art and not a grayscale book. Good to know. But getting a 1-star review because of it, like it killed that book for a bit. I had to spend a lot of money on ads to get it shown to more people so that it wouldn't die completely. And now it's one of our best sellers. But yeah, I'd say like giving candid reviews is not a bad thing, but when you leave them on those platforms where the reviews are tied to algorithms and sales, it's nice if people will tell you, because we want to make a great book for you. Like we want you to be happy with our book, and so feedback that's you know direct to them, if it's not positive, is such a gift. And if it is positive, obviously we would love you to post about it.
Yeah.
And the more you give good reviews on publishers you like and books you support, the more that book will be shown to other people. So when you really like something and you give it a great review, you're not just telling other people it's great, you're actually directly helping the sales of that book.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of this as well, and I need to get into more of the habit as I'm coloring out of a book is to pop back onto Amazon and go ahead and give it a review. And the other thing too, if I can find a way to do this, is to say something to the effect that I use this book in live coloring with ILene Vick on Facebook. Come join our group. I don't know. I'll have to see what I can get away with. But yeah, we all need to be more cognizant of reviewing our books that we get in coloring books and letting people know. Do you have anything in your books as you publish them to encourage people to contact you directly?
Yeah, I have a little thing at the end of the book and at the front. So at the end of the book, I have a little thing here. I've improved upon this page. There's a little bit more information, but I do have my social contact there. And in the front matter, I include our email, our website, that sort of thing. And there is a way to contact us on the website as well.
Okay.
So like I put something there and I put something in the back. My newer books, I actually even put like an empty 5-star thing as like a hint, like, and a little, hey, if you loved this, please leave us a review. And if you didn't, please tell us why directly. So I do that, but you know, like people are busy and we don't always like go through the whole thing. So I still do get sometimes the odd, but I've gotten way more good reviews than not. It's interesting. There's only, I'm not going to name the market, but it's not the US market, but there's one market in particular that I was super surprised at how many like negative reviews it would get compared to any other market. So I do think there's also like a cultural thing, like I'll just say it's the UK. The UK store, yeah, like I've gotten so many strange reviews on it, and they're verified, like people who bought the books, so fair enough. Where I've gotten these really like not like in like just reviews that it's like, okay, like would have been good to know, or getting that feedback, or like outright not correct. Like one person said it was a copied image, and I know that artist was very unhappy to read that. So I think that's the other thing when you leave a bad review, especially when it's a named artist. Again, for me, if I get a bad review on my art, I do have a thick enough skin. Ironically, my fear about putting my artwork out there wasn't about getting bad feedback. I just literally didn't think I could charge money for it because I didn't finish art school.
Yeah.
I now know that's wrong. But like literally that was it. I didn't think I had credibility. But you know, there is a human on the other end there, and a creative human, and most creative humans are quite sensitive by nature, because to be creative you have to be
sensitive
and sensitive to the world around you. So you know, like when people leave a bad review on anything, like I'm very careful when I leave a bad review on something. I always go to the person directly, but again, maybe it's a cultural thing, but yeah, in the UK market in particular, not to call you guys out, but so many interesting reviews on that one compared to any other market. But I have gotten them in other markets too, where it's like, okay. And then I've gotten these amazing 5-star reviews that I know people spent a lot of time putting together, and they put images out there. And I just want you guys to know, when we see those, like, it is so wonderful. It is such a boost in the day. Like whenever I get a good review, whether it's on my work or one of our artists, it is like, thank you.
Makes your day.
We really, yeah. Oh yeah, it makes our day. So great reviews are such a good way to fill someone else's cup for free. Especially if you genuinely feel that way. Obviously, I'm not suggesting anyone write non-genuine reviews.
Yeah.
But if you really loved it and you take the time to put something out there like that, it is so touching, and it makes any negative review completely disappear.
Have you
Yeah, leave more positive reviews if you like it.
Have you thought about putting that request for review in the front of the book instead of the very back? And the reason that I say that is because when I get a coloring book, except of course I flip through it because of what I do, but some people will start going through a book and they'll see something that they like, and then they'll color that and not necessarily see all the way to the back. So that's just my 2 cents worth, is just to put that in the very front.
Yeah, that's probably a very obvious good idea. I'm gonna switch my books. That makes so much sense, because you're right. When it's at the end, maybe they don't even see it.
Nope.
So
yeah.
That's an easy fix.
Yeah, I would suggest that you put it in the front. Okay, now let me ask you this question. So we talked about the publishing end of it and your dealings with Amazon and everything else. It also sounds that you and Dawn should probably connect up together and maybe talk and whatever. Dawn is a great person. I got to tell you, Gillian, Dawn has been such a great mentor to this group. And she does a lot for this group behind the scenes and has been very, very helpful. She is very good people. So if you hook up with her and start talking to her, I think you're going to like her. So she's got all her ethics like in a row. So I think it'll be really great. Okay, just to let you know. So having said that, what about art that you have created? Do you see more books coming out that you are going to do, other than maybe the mandalas?
I do have 2 that are in the works. So the first one is a dog-themed book, and I will tell you guys the title. It is called A Plethora of Pooches.
Ooh.
And it is a plethora. So that one's really fun, because the dogs are drawn in a more realistic fashion. But there's some interesting, like some are done in more of a vignette style where it looks almost like a tattoo sort of design. Others are in like full nature scenes. Some are driving cars. Some are skateboarding. So there's a lot of variety in the book, but you can tell like it's very much still my style, and there's like some symbolism and some funky patterns going on. So that one's a lot of fun. Plethora of pooches, so puppies. Wordplay. I love alliteration and wordplay and titles like mercurial mandalas. So yeah, pooches. So the pooch book is close. I did run a little quiz because each I did a bunch of breeds. So I've got a French bulldog, so I ran a quiz on all of the different breeds that people want to see, and I landed on Labradoodle was a very, very popular request, and I haven't done that, so that is one of the ones. So I've got about 10 more to do, but and that one should finish out at about 30 illustrations. And it was a lot of fun. And actually, I'm really, really, really bad at natural backgrounds. It's, when I say bad, I don't enjoy doing them, like drawing them myself. And so I haven't ever really honed the skill to do like realist natural backgrounds. So that one I actually co-illustrated with an artist who I adore, who hates drawing subjects. He doesn't like drawing animals. He doesn't like doing the dogs. He doesn't like people. He just loves doing nature scenes in black and white. So that's actually a collaboration, and it's a really, really cool book. So he didn't do all the backgrounds, but anyone that required like a nature scene that really deserved a nature scene, he did. And he's really cool. He lives in Ghana. He lives in Ghana, and just a crazy talented young man, and also very new up and coming artist. So really excited to get him showing the world. And then I also did a pure landscape book with him too. Yes, I have a pit bull. She's super cute. She's a flower girl. He actually helped. He did the background for that one, and it is sick. He is really, really good at doing big bouquet type like flowers. So he designed like a flower shop background for the pit bull, and I had like a flower necklace, and she had a little flower crown. So yeah, we have a pit bull that is like all dolled up in flowers in that book. So it's a lot of fun. And yeah, he's amazing to work with. And I'm also with him doing like a pure scene book. We did Islands of the World, and he has 4 more left to do on that one. So yeah, that's one. And then the other coloring book that I have coming out is I haven't figured out the title yet for it, but it's actually further along than the dog book. And it's coupled with kind of, it's like I kind of wanted it to model it after like romance books, like the genre itself, and how like the covers have like all sorts of different couples. So I kind of wanted to like model it after all of the different kinds of romance genres and different kinds of couples. Like I wanted to show different body types, different races, that sort of thing. So that's and it is a hetero couple book. I did decide to split those, so it's a fun one coming out. I will also be doing some other non hetero options, but that one is going to be like more of a traditional romance themed book, and it's people, because I also love drawing faces, and I wanted to challenge myself with more like full bodies and that sort of thing. And yeah, it really grew me as an artist, and it is just about ready to go. Yeah, 20 page. Yes, Dawn, I have a notebook. I will get ideas for coloring books like 3 in the morning and write them down. And some of the, I have a Fabio type character, like book cover look. So I'm playing with different titles for that one, because I want it to really be about like romance novel genres, and sort of the like funny tropes that you see in them. So yeah, like I take inspiration from lots of things. It sounds like you do too, Dawn. And yeah, I have like a working book of ideas, but some of those ideas I'm like, that was not for me. That one's for so-and-so or this artist. Cause now I've got this amazing group of artists that I've built these relationships with, and I know them, and I know what they like to draw. I know how to bring out what like their best is. Like, we work really well together. I've been asked by several artists to become their agent because we work so well together, and I'm like, that's a whole other thing. But I know agents if he wants them. But I do love working with them and creating the books and I come up with the ideas, and usually what I'll do is I'll offer them like, okay, like what about these 5 different prompts? And I'll start with a prompt, and yeah, those prompts are basically for I call it my idea garden. And it's a note section in my phone that I just whip out and throw a note down whenever I get an idea. And yeah, there's some where I'm like, yes, I'm the artist for that one. and that's super exciting. So I've got some ideas coming up for myself, but I do have to finish those other two first before I start any new projects, just so that I can get them out there and get some feedback. Because I will say, waiting between the release of this book and the release of my next one was good, because I got enough feedback where I could make the improvements I wanted to make on the next one, which is great. So, excuse me, feedback is helpful for many, many reasons. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing next. Thank you, ILene.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, yeah, no, and well, yeah. So let me ask you this. What would you think, and I mean, this is something that we could talk about privately, because I absolutely do not want to put you on the spot, but what would you think about when an artist is releasing a book, if we have a relationship with that artist here in the group, that maybe the same day or shortly after it releases on Amazon, that you release it through here, through this group, as a way to publicize it?
Like post about the release here?
Well, no. I mean, have the artist come in on the group, and then we showcase, or I showcase the artist along with their book, and do the flip through, like what I'm going to do for you April 1st.
Yeah.
Food for thought. Food for thought. So, in other words, we can promote like we're doing for you and this next artist, but what that would mean is, and again, I'm just throwing this by you and not putting it, it just occurred to me that this might be a really neat way to do it, because that way everybody's going to have a visual of the book. You've gotten a taste of our group. They would love to see new stuff come through hot off the press, and then we announce that it's being released on Amazon, and everybody can go out if they wish and purchase it. So it would almost be like a live version of what would be done on YouTube. So instead of just a YouTube with a little music in the background or whatever, on the flip through, we do an on-air live release flip through. What do you think of that?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, of course.
Okay, we can.
You guys are great. And like I said, like getting that feedback is like right away is super, super cool. And I'm sure it's exciting for you guys to see what's new and hot coming off the press, because as you know, we've got a lot of titles in the works, and each one takes me as an individual, like I said, 2 days to a week to do. And I still have artists turning in artwork, but I also have a lot of turned in artwork that I'm treating with a lot of respect and being very careful on how I produce it. Like, for example, I have this really, really cool, not a Kirby Resents, I'm totally blanking on the name of the artist. There's another one that does like kind of those doodly characters and really big, and I'm just blanking on the name right now, unfortunately. But this artist kind of has a similar style, but just different enough. And we worked on a prehistoric creature book, and his drawing style is incredible. But it's such a neat book. And when we were deciding on which creatures to do, of course, I turned it into a research project. And so we're making it a bit interactive, where there's information about the creatures. There's a couple of activities even thrown in. So it's drawn in a more adult style, but a kid could still get a lot of fun out of it. And it's sort of an all ages type of thing. So when I do add those extra bits of information or that extra treatment to the book, like it takes a little bit longer to produce. But certain books, it makes sense to do that. It makes it a better book. It helps it stand out and gives that artist the most chance for their book to be seen and for their work to be seen in the world. And obviously, I mean, I'm a business person too. I joke that I'm an ethical capitalist, but it also helps, people want to buy the book because they feel like they're getting lots of value out of it. Right?
Well, and my gosh, yes, and like the more that I'm thinking about this idea, and again, I'm just throwing out ideas, and again, this can be an off-camera discussion, but if we have the artist come on, like we're doing with you, and by the way, you got a little blurry. I don't know if it's your camera or whatever. No biggie deal. Don't worry about it. We're fine. We can still see you. So yeah, so you're going to release a book. You have the artist come on here. You get the book in my hot little hands. We go ahead and we do the flip through. The artist talks about it, maybe talks about, oh, this is my favorite image, or I drew this when I was thinking about such and such, or, whatever the case may be. And then, as long as it's already been released on Amazon, you can't tell exactly when a book's going to release on Amazon, right?
No, once you've submitted it, it can take anywhere from 24 hours to 2 weeks to go live.
Right. Okay. Well,
but once it's out, and
yeah. Well,
I always get an email when it's officially live.
Okay. Well, and we can figure that out as well. I mean, even if it's a pre-release, that would even be fun too. And then we can say available on Amazon sometime within the next 2 weeks. And I am sure that my peeps would absolutely love that, and to have access to hot off the press books that nobody else has seen before.
You know what we could do is I could actually print the images out and I can just show them.
Okay.
Just to guarantee, you know what I mean? Or like other options in case, like before it's going to go live, I can even do a case where I print it off and show it. Or I can even prepare like a screen share where you guys get to see a little scan quickly where I watermark things and you can see it quick. So long as I post it to YouTube, just because, again, enterprising thieves could grab it. And if they publish it first, then it becomes really tricky for me to say that I'm the publisher. So I'm always careful about showing artwork before it's gone live. But if I put a little pencil over or it's watermarked, then we're good.
Yeah, that's not going to work though, because everything that I do goes up to YouTube.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We will chat about some logistics, but I do like the idea
of. Yes.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm just catching up on messages. It looks like I was accidentally given an angel filter.
An angel filter.
Maybe that's what it did. Angel filter. I don't know. But like I think that's a great idea, and I'm reading the comments. People seem very excited about that. So I think that's a really, really cool idea to do something like that for sure. Because I would love to give this group like some kind of exclusive early access and just some bonus, because you guys are so good to me, and ILene, you're so good to me. And this is such a cool art-centric group of amazing people. I can tell that everyone here is really aligned with just supporting amazing artists. Like the fact that it's like people like I still haven't gotten to watch Ruth Sanderson, but like as you can tell, kind of a fan. And it's really neat that you guys have that you bring in so many cool artists and that people enjoy it so much. You guys are our people, which is super cool. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that a lot. But don't forget to hide your initials in the pieces. I think, you know what, Stephanie, that is something I'm going to really try to do, because that would make it really difficult for people, right? Especially if I was very subtle about it.
Okay, so
have our group color the cover page. Ooh, as a contest.
There you go.
There we go. That might be the one.
And the neat thing is, I mean, everybody benefits out of this, because my peeps will benefit out of it. I'll benefit out of it because I want people in my group. You know why I formed this group? It was never, a money issue. So, I mean, boy, that would just explode the group, because if we know that a release is coming, as we start directing people to join up in this group in order to see these releases, that would be fantastic. If
you guys would find, I like that idea. All of the YouTubers that I work with, they're all great fans, and they're always asking when the newer books are coming out, which is really cool. Because it's nice to see that people want your stuff, and there is an exclusivity piece. It's always cool when you're the first one to see it, right? Mm-hmm. So I totally get that. And it's a great opportunity to get to, like, for everybody. There's no downside for sure, besides being careful about the full interior. But when you do the cover image, it's a lot easier, less risk, and a really cool way to promote it. Also, a really cool way to see how people color it and what people think, and even get some feedback, right? Because maybe I put out a cover and I go, hey, like, this is what I'm doing. you know, maybe I even get feedback on that piece and I can make some adjustments. So yeah, there's lots of, I think, benefits to doing that.
Yeah, and you know, that's another thing too, as I'm thinking about this, is if an artist has a piece that they want feedback on, we just need to figure out a way that you can release it to the group. We can color it, and then we can go ahead and give feedback on it. Something along those lines. Now, the problem being is that anything that's posted in the group stands the risk, of course, of going outside the group, but it just gets, you know, marked, or, you know, let's say marked up the side, or I don't know. We can figure all that out. But if your artists want to use this as a test market, that may also be a route to go as well.
Yeah, I have a bunch of artists that I know, like, they're always asking for that kind of feedback. So that is awesome.
Okay, well, we can.
I have one artist who is, okay, you guys, he is definitely coming on this. He's already agreed, and he lives in the US, so there's no time zone issues. And he is like, ILene, I've shown you his stuff. He hadn't drawn in like 15 years. And his wife bought him a tablet, and he started drawing again. And his work is like, it's actually ridiculously good. I cannot believe that he draws that out of his mind, and I can tell he isn't using references. Like, you can tell.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the stuff that he is coming out with, and he's always asking for feedback and things like that. So, because he's a newer artist technically, his work is astounding. It's professional grade already. I had to give him like a couple little tweaks here and there for coloring specifically, you know, on you know, black lines and things like that people like. He figured it out really quickly. And yeah, he's always looking for feedback and always looking for ways to improve his craft. He's really hungry to succeed in it. Like, he's rediscovered it kind of like I did. And yeah, he is always looking for feedback. So I know he is one that when he comes on the group, like yeah, that'll be something he'll really be looking forward to.
Okay, and we'll figure out something with that. By the way, Maribel Sanchez just dropped in. She is a wonderful artist as well, and on Etsy. And you know, this really, my group is becoming artist central, really. And that's good. That's good. I would just need.
Hi, Maribel.
Yeah.
I love the green wig and the hat.
Yeah. Yes.
Or her hair. If it's regular hair, that's amazing. I definitely would dye my hair green. I don't know how my husband would feel about it. He already struggles with the pink, to be honest. But you know, it's at least there's some, you know, normal. But yeah, you know, I sometimes do, you know, if he's misbehaving, I go like, maybe I should just go split colors, maybe do like blue and purple.
There you go. There you go.
See what he'll say.
Well,
so yeah, Maribel, I'm gonna have to check out your art. It's so cool to meet other artists through this too. And ILene, thank you so much for having me on this amazing chat. I'm really enjoying connecting with your awesome group.
Yeah. Well, I am so excited. Do you realize we've been chatting for 3 hours?
I was going to ask, I can't see my clock on anything in here because my phone is how I'm checking the chat, and then the iPad's up. So I'm like, I don't know how long we've talked, but I feel bad because I know you guys need to do some coloring. But hopefully it was valuable and people enjoyed learning about publishing too. And
yeah.
all that.
The time just flew. Okay, so just a quick recap now. All right, so Gillian is going to be here April 1st, and she sent me her book, so I'm going to go through and I will page through it and we'll talk about it, and she will be back to talk about it. Also, we talked about that if she has an artist that can't make it on screen for some reason, that she will come on behalf of the artist, and I'll go ahead and do the flip through. And now we are also talking about having exclusive release through this group of books, and that also could be an artist thing. Yeah, that would be an artist thing as well. Go ahead. What was your idea?
I know how to do it. I know how to do it where I protect myself. I just had to it just had to click in my brain. Since I have my own ISBNs, I just have to publish it myself first, even on my website. So long as it's published somewhere that like has the ISBN, then it becomes a lot more difficult. Well, like it becomes mine officially, like because it's under the not that it wasn't before, but it just, there's this first to publish thing that people have to work around. So yeah, all I have to do is not publish on an Amazon first.
Okay.
Then I'm fine.
Oh.
And I can literally, like, publishing can count as putting it up. There's a couple of different ways you can do it, but long story short, I'm going to publish it with my own ISBN first on a different platform than Amazon, and then we'll be safe because it'll still be exclusive to here. We'll just make it so that technically it exists under that ISBN.
Okay.
That's all I have to do.
Perfect. And also, Gillian, just so that you know, when this goes up to YouTube, I will also be putting your website along the bottom, and that'll appear for the entire time of the video. So you've got that, www.joltbook, no S, Sky, Jolt, J-O-L-T book, BOOK.com. Now, the other thing I want to tell everybody, when you go to the website, and it took me a while to figure this out, Julian, so you might want to change something. Gillian, excuse me. Julian, whatever. We'll work it out. I didn't realize that if you scroll to the bottom, that's where you could go through the books and see all the pages. And because remember, yeah, that's a big thing.
Yes.
You might.
That is something that, okay, yeah, I did work. So with this particular website, I actually did get some web design support just because I was doing a million things at once.
Right.
And that was one thing that I didn't love that the web designer did. And I did ask that to be like fixed, and it never got fixed amongst all the other things. And I was like, well, I'll just do it. And then didn't prioritize it. So thank you. I do agree. Because it's like, great, you've got the title, but and the cover image, but where's the rest?
Yeah.
So thank you. That is one of the things I need to add to my to-do list. But I agree, it's not the best user experience. I am definitely redesigning the website once. There's so many things I need to juggle, because when I have completed artwork, I do feel this desire to get it out there because the artist has finished it. And I want to get it out there for them because they've, that way they can start getting that exposure and, some money. And so yeah, that is important.
Yeah.
It is on the to-do list for sure. But that's something I can do now before a full redesign. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's good because I remember you kept telling me, you can look through the book, and I couldn't find it and couldn't find it and couldn't find it. And then finally by accident, I, bumped the phone or something and it went down to the bottom, and I thought, oh, there they are.
Yep. Yeah, that was one of my pet peeves about the design. I did like a bunch of things that they did. I did change a lot of things after the fact, but they at least got it begun while I was so busy dealing with art direction and putting these books together to begin with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just ended up trying to do too much by myself. And this is one thing, when I worked in entrepreneur support and startup, which is what I did after the publishing industry, a lot of businesses and a lot of entrepreneurs, they try to literally do everything themselves, and hey, there are tasks that like I can do myself, but sometimes it would take me, since I don't do it every single day, it would take me longer to do that task than to pay somebody when I look at how much I feel I'm worth to the business. So it's like it's a constant balancing act.
Yeah.
So I paid someone to at least get it started, knowing that I would be the one doing the primary work once I finish this first stage.
Okay.
But ILene, I am chronically behind all the time on everything. So I am looking forward to getting to, for us to get to grow. And I think one of the first hires I will make is to have an assistant because I am, being the creative type, I'm not the most organized. I can be organized, but I have to be very conscious about it and very on top of it. So,
okay.
This is why this is great feedback. If people are struggling to scroll down or not struggling, but don't know, and that's a UX thing. And that's something I'm very passionate about on websites, is that they're easy to navigate.
Yeah.
So I want it to be easy. I want it to be very natural, that people would know to scroll.
Okay, and what book?
Because if you have to tell them, then it's not working.
Yeah, exactly. What book are we doing April 1st so that my peeps know which one to buy?
So I was thinking of doing the egg one because it's Good Friday the next day, and it's Easter, and some people, like, I know a lot of people celebrate that, so it's kind of on theme. So I was thinking that one, but of course I'm happy to do this one as well. So maybe I'll leave that up to you, but or the audience. But I was thinking the egg one, and I will post a couple of free ones that people can print off themselves as well. Obviously,
Okay.
maybe people can let me know which one is the most popular. Maybe I might offer a couple of choices, and we could decide as a group. Totally happy with it.
Well, the reason that they're asking, and because we're running out of time as far as when the event's going to be, because I'll be posting it tonight so that people know. But the reason that my peeps are asking is because they want to know which one to buy. So
yeah,
which one is?
Let's say the egg one, because that's on theme, and I don't have it yet, so it'll be all new for me too, and we can learn together while we're coloring that one, because that'll be my first time coloring it.
Okay, fine. So would you hold the cover up and just come back a little bit just so that people can see?
Yes.
And give us the title again is?
Eccentric Egg Mandalas.
Eccentric Egg Mandalas, okay. And that's the book, so go ahead and take a shot of the screen so that you guys know which one it is, and you can get that ordered. Eventually I'll be coloring out of the other book because that's got my favorite things on it. And you want to go where? To Amazon to pick it up?
Yeah.
Okay, so pick it up in Amazon, guys, and then that way you'll have it. So
yeah, or Etsy. It is on my Etsy page too. It was the first book I put on Etsy.
Oh, Etsy as well. Okay, perfect. Now, is that available in PDF as well?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. Oh, well, duh. Etsy is PDF, right?
Not necessarily. I know some people do sell print coloring books on Etsy, and they're like printed on gorgeous paper, and it's like they kind of just DIY it themselves, and yeah, so it can be both. But yeah, these are PDF downloads.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, guys, thank you so much. Gillian, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Fascinating discussion all the way through about the publishing and everything else. Again, you and Dawn should probably hook up if you can, and there might something come out of that. So perfect. Anything else you wanted to talk about before we end?
Oh gosh, I just wanted to say thank you for holding space for me, you guys, and being so warm and welcoming. I have been very amused reading some of this chat too about hair color. That was hilarious. Amazon jail, Etsy jail. It's so funny. So yeah, I thank you guys for tuning in and being so kind and welcoming. And yeah, I feel like I've met some new friends already, which is so cool because I know that this is a very busy group, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, great. And once we have the video from YouTube, you can go ahead and maybe pop that up to your website as well, because I think it's been a fascinating interview, and I think that it's going to be a great way for people to get to know you as well. So that's a benefit for everybody as well.
I'm definitely, like, the customers of mine that are not aware of this group, I will be making them aware of this group because yeah, there's so much value to be had. It seems like a really fun atmosphere. I love that you've made it very warm and welcoming, and you want to make it a safe place for people. It really feels that way.
Yeah.
And the fact that you challenge people to think outside of the box in their coloring, it only is going to make coloring more fun, more dynamic, more beneficial. And that's why we do this. That's why I do what I do, because I love what coloring can do for people. I love that it makes art therapy accessible to anybody. And I think there's so like, I personally obviously benefited from it my entire life. I have my, I've gone through my mental health challenges, and having art has been how I've been able to cope in the most healthy way. So it's a beautiful cycle. It's very symbiotic, and yeah, I'm definitely going to be bringing some people here.
Good. And
It's a lot of fun.
the other thing is too, when you talk to your artists, and they'll get a feel for once they start to notice or get to know us and so forth. But I'm hoping that you can convey to them what kind of group this is, and they'll get it when they come in and do the live with me. And what I will do, same thing with you, is I'll have them on probably about a week before, and we'll chat a little bit. I mean, not necessarily the 3 hours, but this was different because we're announcing our relationship. But we'll chat before then, make sure we can make the connection, and we'll get them promoted. And I really want them to understand that this is also for them, because as they benefit, we benefit. So that'll be great. And if we can work out.
You created something very
Go ahead.
special here, ILene, and I love that coloring is a community, but you've taken it like a step farther. Yeah, I would agree with you, Lila. And I also, Virginia, I'm sorry about your puppy spilling Sprite. If it makes you feel any better, my dog lately has taken to eating her own poop and then throwing it up on our carpet.
Oh.
So I feel your pain. We have to replace our carpet before we sell our house. And we're gonna have to like lay down towels on the stairs. So yeah, I know your pain there. Sorry, small aside. I know that's gross, but dog lady over here. But yeah, thank you, ILene. This is a really funny group, I can tell too, which is good because in case you can't tell, I have a big smile and I love to laugh. So yeah, I think we're all gonna have a lot of fun together.
Yeah, I think we will too, and I think it's going to be very profitable on all levels that we're talking about. And I'm so excited for the artists, and I'm excited for you that we met, and I'm excited for my group that we met, because they're getting all this and they're going nuts because they never quite know what I'm going to throw at them. So we have a lot of fun with it.
I keep them guessing, right?
Keep them guessing. That's
yeah.
I said my tagline is, but wait, there's more.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much. And yes, Virginia, we do love our dogs no matter what. I love Henley more than life itself. Dog mom t-shirt. Yeah, you guys are my people. Thank you so much. It's just been a pleasure.
Okay, young lady, and I will talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye, sweetie. Okay. Well, my gosh. So I hope everybody was pleasantly surprised. That's my big announcement, that I am now in a working relationship with Jolt Book, no S, joltbook.com. And we will be bringing in artists, and we'll be having a lot of fun with this. Thank you so much for the warm welcome to Gillian. I appreciate that, guys, and you know that I do what I can to make this group exciting and bring in stuff that you guys will never expect, and I really hope that you enjoyed that. So I just am so excited about all this, and it's going to be absolutely great. Melva Carter says, great show, you done good. So as Gillian said, you guys make this group, and everybody that visits gets a great sense of who we are. Okay, yes, please everybody, please share this on your Facebook page. This is a special thing, and I was just fascinated to listen to Gillian and about all the different publishing things and that type of stuff, so it was really great. Okay, so Gillian will be here April 1st. I will put out an announcement, and we'll go tomorrow, of course, is Jeff Haney. So, yay. Lots of exciting stuff, guys, and I hope you had fun. Okay, guys. Well, as I always say, joyous coloring. Let me know, by the way, how is the sound level right now? Yeah, the time did fly by. How is my sound level right now? That's the one last thing I want to check. Yeah, now you're heading to Amazon, says Katie. So let me know about how my sound level is, because I'm using my headset, of course. Oh, Gillian, come back and watch Jeff. That will be crazy good time. Yeah, she needs to watch Jeff tomorrow. Okay. All right, guys. Love you. Joyous, joyous coloring. This is ILene Vick for Teaching Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. Please, please, please share this, and we'll be going from there. All right, guys. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.